The neighbor brother was once a prodigy young pianist. He won countless awards at just 15 years old, but after meeting my classmate, he let her laughingly sit on his beloved piano and kiss him. He also gave up his studies, smashed the piano, and descended into a life of degradation for her. So I told his parents. The neighbor's older brother was forced to study abroad. Later, he achieved great success, the brightest new star in the entertainment industry, and I joined his company as a trainee. Without looking up, he pointed at me. Just choose her. That night, I was plied with alcohol by my agent and sent to the rooms of various investors. He stood at the door, biting a cigarette and smirking lightly. This is my way of thanking you for your betrayal back then, and I was humiliated to death on that cold winter night. When I opened my eyes again, I was back before everything happened. Bringing down someone as unattainable as a high mountain flower. Isn't that thrilling? His lips are so thin. I wonder how good he is at kissing. My desk mate propped their chin on their hand and teased. A tall figure sat by the floor-to-ceiling window directly across the courtyard. It was Wen Shuyan, 18 years old. I suddenly snapped back to reality, clutching my chest and gasping for breath. Turning my head, I saw that the person next to me was my classmate Gumei. In her previous life, she would prop her chin up like this, gazing flirtatiously at Wen Shuyan, with an expression that clearly said she was determined to win him over. At the time, I just thought she was talking big. That night, I saw her sitting on Wen Shuyan's piano, bowing her head to kiss him. I'm back. I've been reborn. I forced myself to stay calm and closed the window. I need to study. If you don't have anything else to do, go back to your own place. Gumei pouted. Aren't you curious? Don't you have a crush on him? I was suddenly stunned. At 17, I made two mistakes. One was that I had a crush on my neighbor's older brother but didn't dare to confess my feelings. The second was that I reported his early relationship with Gumei. That's why he hated me for 6 years. He was even willing to ruin me to avenge the betrayal of those years. Remembering that desperate winter night from my past life, I clenched my fingers, biting my lip. No, I never had a crush on him, I replied calmly. Gumei gave a sly smile, curling her lips as she said, I'm relieved now. I didn't know how to tell you, but I'm dating Wen Shuyan. I was afraid it might upset you. In my previous life, Gumei also boldly declared her ownership to me like this. Gumei was a sea queen, and she had dated almost every handsome young boy in school. She was bold and flashy, while others were nervously preparing for exams. She was in a relationship, smoking, drinking, and hanging out at bars, not the traditional good girl, yet. Such a girl had an irresistible allure for those who followed the rules. Wen Shuyan was clearly one of them. I remembered just before my death in my previous life, my hand, scarred with cigarette burns, grabbed the sleeve of Wen Shuyan's white shirt. I begged Wen Shuyan desperately to let me go. Even if you hate me, you shouldn't do it this way. Wen Shuyan looked at me, his thin lips curling into a smirk. He sneered. What method do you have in mind? If it weren't for you, Gumei wouldn't have married someone else, nor would she have died in childbirth. Why should she be dead while you live so well? Qin Si, this isn't fair. Yes, because of my betrayal in my previous life, Wen Shuyan was forced to leave the country, while Gumei, due to her relationship, failed her art exam and subsequently married a street thug. Soon after, she had a child out of wedlock, and her parents never cared for her. The thug also took off after their affair, and she eventually died in a shady clinic. Wen Shuyan always felt that if I hadn't betrayed him back then, he wouldn't have left the country. Gumei wouldn't have died, so it's all my fault. I lowered my eyes. That's great. I wish you 100 years of harmony and everlasting love. Gumei looked at me in surprise but said nothing. 3 days went by one after another. The two were secretly in a relationship, like all young couples. They skipped class to watch movies, got matching tattoos on their chests, and kissed on a romantic Ferris wheel. They raced through the streets on motorcycles in the dead of night. They forgot their true identity as students. I watched all of this with a cold, detached eye, and I was nervously preparing for the college entrance exam. In my previous life, influenced by Wen Shuyan, I chose to attend the same high school as him and became an art student, always chasing after his shadow, trying to touch his light. Now, I plan to switch from being an art student to a regular student, retake the college entrance exam and never follow someone else's path again. This path is undoubtedly difficult, but no matter how hard it is, I want to give it a try. It wasn't until this day that I overheard Gumei bragging at school that Wen Shuyan is just a music nerd who knows nothing. If it weren't for his participation in so many competitions, his fame, and the prestige it brings, who would want to be with him? Classmate A. TCH, you're bragging. Does he even like you? Probably just playing around with you, Gume confidently emphasized. Don't doubt me, when I say east, he wouldn't dare go west. Classmate B, I heard he's about to participate in a piano competition, can you make him not go? Gume said, that's easy, just wait and see. I was sitting right beside him, and I knew that winning first place in the piano competition could secure him a spot at a prestigious music school abroad. I understood how crucial this competition was to him. As expected, those pivotal moments from my previous life still unfolded without my interference. I knew Gume had ulterior motives in my previous life. I hinted to Wen Shuyan several times, but he thought I was the one causing trouble and ruining their relationship. After much hesitation, I decided to tell his parents. Due to his parents' interference, things got quite noisy. The two were forced to part ways, in the end. Wen Shuyan still missed out on the first prize trophy due to poor form. However, he still got the opportunity to study abroad, but he harbored resentment towards me for so many years because of it, even at the cost of destroying me personally. When I came to my senses, Gume was already right in front of me. She winked at me. Chintzy, you wouldn't snitch, would you? I lowered my head and opened my book as usual. Of course not. In this life, I choose silence, respect others' destinies. 4. Until I saw Wen Shuyan sitting at my doorstep. This was the first time I met him after my rebirth. I recalled what he did to me in my previous life. I suppressed the disgust. A quick glance down. Broken beer bottles were scattered all over the ground. Blood trickled slowly from his hand. Seeing me, he immediately got up from the ground. His eyes bloodshot as he grabbed me. Chintzy, you and Gume are close, right? Could you help me contact her? She said she wants to break up with me, and I really can't live without her. She said playing the piano is boring for me, but I can stop. The piano will never be as important as her. Please help me. Okay, I've run out of options. I love her, and for her, I'd give up anything. I looked at the disheveled young man in front of me. He no longer has the aura of the past. He didn't even care when his long, fair hands were cut by a beer bottle, but in my memory, he cherished those hands greatly. He said he was grateful to heaven for giving him hands that could play beautiful music. He enjoys the rhythm of his fingers dancing across the piano keys. The pianist's most precious hands, in his eyes, were far less important than Gume at this moment. He is no longer the man I once loved. Indeed, the white moonlight can only exist in memory, I thought for a moment. Then took out my phone and called Gume. Gume, Wen Shuyan is drunk at my doorstep, can you come over? He stood cautiously beside me, looking at the phone with eager anticipation. Gume seemed to chuckle on the other end of the line. Then she said, ask him for me. Is he really willing to do anything for me? I had the speakerphone on, so Wen Shuyan naturally heard it too. He panicked and said, of course I can. Then don't participate in the competition. After saying that, Gume hung up the phone, only leaving Wen Shuyan, stunned, standing stiffly in place. I observed Wen Shuyan. I also wanted to see, without my interference this time, what choice he would make. Dreams and love, what will he ultimately choose? Wen Shuyan lowered his head. After a long pause, he let out a bitter laugh. Do I have to give up the piano competition to prove how much she means to me? This comment was clearly not directed at me, but I knew he already had the answer. I didn't say much. Just stared at him as he left in defeat. 5. Wen Shuyan indeed did not participate in the piano competition, because he injured his hand. The two miraculously made up again. I saw the two walking home from school hand in hand. Sweetly, the light in Wen Shuyan's eyes brightened again as he gazed at the girl beside him with deep affection and longing. The two of them were walking down the alley on their way home. Gume held a cigarette in her left hand, exhaling smoke into his face. Wen Shuyan, however, affectionately ruffled her hair and leaned down to kiss the corner of her mouth. Immediately, he wrapped his arm around her waist and walked into the nearby billiard room, chatting and laughing with a group of young socialites. I sighed, turned around, and walked away, becoming a complete bystander, until his mother found us in our classroom. Wen Shuyan's mother, a teacher, always seemed dignified and serious to me. She once kindly and gently tutored me with my middle school homework. She praised me for being a smart child. Wen Shuyan's family background is average. His father worked at a small company, his mother was a high school teacher, and Wen Shuyan was expected to achieve great things from a young age. When his mother learned that Wen Shuyan loved the piano, she spent all her savings to buy him an expensive one. Wen Shuyan lived up to expectations, winning countless awards of all sizes. All he needed to do was graduate from high school to receive an acceptance letter from a prestigious foreign music school. This piano competition is just a stepping stone. But Wen Shuyan managed to screw up a winning hand, and at this moment, Wen's mother, Her face contorted with rage, slapped Gumei in front of the entire class. 5 finger marks were left on Gumei's beautiful cheek. She stared at her in disbelief, impulsively shouting, "You old hag, why did you hit me, Mrs. Wen sneered at her. "Why, because you're young and already up to no good, seducing my son. Do you have any idea what you've done to his bright future? Do you know how much effort I've put into nurturing him to where he is now? How dare you seduce him into giving up the piano competition for you? Wen's mother doesn't work at our school. That's why Gumei and Wen Shuyan's relationship was always so public. Even the homeroom teacher knew about it. Wen Shuyan's future is limitless. Once the college entrance exam is over, he can easily secure a spot at a prestigious foreign university, so the homeroom teacher could only shake his head and sigh, wondering how such a fine young man could fall for a girl like Gumei, and he didn't intervene any further. Hearing this, Gumei turned pale, defended forcefully, "Did I seduce him, Mrs. Wen? Please get your facts straight. It was your precious son who begged me to be with him. Not me holding a knife to his neck forcing him to quit the competition. That was his own choice, Mrs. Wen was so furious her eyes rolled back, and she lunged to tear at Gumei's hair. Some busybody had already run out of the classroom. Soon enough, Wen Suyan received the message and rushed over. He pushed his mother away and shielded Gumei firmly behind him. "Mom, you're crazy. If you want to hit someone, hit me. Quitting the competition was my own choice. It has nothing to do with her." Wen Suyan's mother probably hadn't expected it either. Her usually obedient and well-behaved son had actually defied her for a strange girl. She was so furious that she trembled all over and almost lost her balance. She raised her hand and slapped Wen Shuyan. Her gaze swept around, as if noticing something, and suddenly pointed at me standing in the crowd. "Why couldn't you find someone decent? Instead, you picked a loser. Even if you were with someone like Cece, a good girl, I could have tolerated it. Are you trying to drive me crazy?" I was unexpectedly called out and stood there in shock. This incident didn't happen in my previous life. Wen's mom never visited the school, even after learning about their early relationship. They also chose a very low-key way to resolve the matter, unlike now, when things get so extreme and embarrass both parties in public. As I was called out by Wen's mom, everyone's eyes turned to me. Gumei seemed to realize something and suddenly glared at me angrily. "Chin Si, so it was you who betrayed me. How could you do this? I thought you were my best friend." Wen Shuyan also looked at me, her lips pressed together in silence, but her gaze was terrifyingly frightening. My mouth twitched uncontrollably. In this life, I haven't done anything, and yet, the blame still falls on me. I spread my hands. This has nothing to do with me. I never said anything. And I don't want to get involved in your affairs. If you insist on arguing, please leave the classroom and don't disturb the other students who are reviewing. Also, Auntie, could you please clarify to them that this has nothing to do with me? Gumei, however, was convinced that I was the one who had snitched. At that moment, when Shuyan's homeroom teacher also arrived, she pulled Wen's mother aside to calm her down. Wen's mom finally managed to control her temper. "If it weren't for your homeroom teacher telling me, I wouldn't have known you've been doing all these things behind my back." Wen's mom and their homeroom teacher are classmates, so the teacher revealed the information to her. "I'm finally cleared of suspicion." 6. This scandal has blown up quite a bit. Almost everyone in the school knows about it. Puppy love like this often happens in school, and sometimes parents get involved, usually ending with the couple breaking up and becoming strangers, or one of them transfers to another school. Gumei was originally an art student, slacking off in her academic courses. She believed that with her looks, getting into any school would be a breeze. Naturally, she was unwilling to transfer schools for Wen Suyu. She felt she had been greatly wronged. Wen Suyu also believed that he had dragged Gumei down, causing her to be humiliated by his mother. After being taken home by Mrs. Wen, he resorted to starving himself in protest, even smashing that precious piano. He fought tooth and nail against Mr. and Mrs. Wen. It was only half a month later that I saw Shuyan Wen. That day was the first time in 2 months that I heard the sound of a piano. Since he started dating Gumi, he rarely played the piano, but soon the piano music came to an abrupt halt. An ambulance arrived at his house in the middle of the night, and my parents, hearing the commotion, rushed out in their coats to help. It turned out that Mr. and Mrs. Wen had sneaked out without Wen Shuyan knowing. Wen Shuyan's right hand was covered in blood, gushing out profusely. It soaked through his white shirt. I looked at his pale, weak face, my eyes filled with a triumphant smile. As he passed by me, he said a sentence. "I want to live for Gumei this lifetime. Chinsi, don't stand in my way, or you know the consequences." I stood stiffly in place, as if I had been struck by a spell. Wen Shuyan's finger bones are broken. And even if it's discovered quickly, things can never go back to how they were. His parents finally agreed to let the two of them be together. When Shuyan can no longer play the piano, he didn't seem to mind, merely saying, that was proof of his love for Gumi, and it was his youth, but only I know that his hands can play the most beautiful music in the world. He could have been sitting in a concert where the streets were empty with everyone attending, enjoying the envious gazes of everyone. 7. They are now openly together. It's said that they have broken up several times, since Gumi tacitly acknowledged herself as a daughter-in-law of the Wen family, often demanded exorbitantly expensive gifts from Wen Shuyan that students couldn't afford. But Wen Shuyan's parents hated her as much as they would an enemy. They directly cut off Wen Shuyan's living expenses. It's said that the two rented a place to live outside of school, thanks to Wen Shuyan's participation in competitions over the years. She has won quite a bit of prize money. For a while, the two of them lived quite comfortably. I paid no attention to any of this, burying myself in endless practice papers, though it was somewhat challenging, but at least I managed to submit a satisfactory answer sheet during the college entrance exam. Wen Shuyan, however, performed poorly in the college entrance exam due to his hand injury. As an art student, the disability in his fingers now makes it impossible for him to become a pianist. He had no choice but to take the regular college entrance exam route. After the college entrance exam, the class organized a farewell dinner for the teacher. Gumi brought Wen Shuyan to the event. She wore an expensive Chanel-style suit, her wavy hair styled, looking mature far beyond her age. Wen Shuyan still wore a white shirt, but his hair was dyed silver. It's said that Gumi likes this hair color. The teacher left early, leaving only our classmates behind. Many students who were too shy to confess before let loose after the college entrance exam. In an instant, the teacher appreciation banquet turned into a confession banquet. Some of my close female friends saw Gumi show up. She couldn't help but pout. I don't know what Gumi's so proud of. She dresses like a streetwalker, and no amount of luxury brands can cover up her sleazy vibe. She spoke loudly. Gumi is always very showy in class. She's pretty, but her academic performance is abysmal. So the girls with good grades in the class don't like to hang out with her. Gumi obviously heard that and suddenly shot a glance over. Oh, I thought who it was. A hideous creature dares to gossip about your grandma. What? I have a man and you don't. Are you jealous? Unlike some people, I'm not fake and petty, envying others and playing dirty tricks behind their backs. Gumi gave me a provocative smile. Ever since the last incident, Gumi has held a grudge against me. Even though I've already explained that it wasn't me who ratted them out, they were so public about their relationship that it was hard not to notice. The female classmates also noticed that Gumi was targeting me. She glared at her angrily. Only you treat Wen Shuyan like a treasure. In others' eyes, what is he? Moreover, he can't even play the piano anymore. Wen Shuyan, who was nearby, heard this and his face turned grim. Gumi suddenly grabbed his arm. What's the big deal if he can't play the piano? With a face like that, he can easily make money in the entertainment industry. You bookworms will never measure up to him. Wen Shuyan, kiss me. As she said that, she deliberately leaned in with her red lips. Wen Shuyan glanced at her and spoke in a hushed voice. Stop it, there are so many people around. But Gumi sneered. What? You come over shamelessly when I don't let you kiss me, but today with Qin Si here, you don't dare to kiss me. Wen Shuyan frowned slightly, glancing at me without a trace. About to explain, I raised an eyebrow and stood up. Gumi, today is a class reunion, not your love nest. If you two want to flirt, fine, but don't drag me into it. As I spoke, I thought about getting up and leaving, but Gumi stood up and stopped me in my tracks. She looked at me with a cold smile and said, don't think I don't know what you're up to. Isn't there a love letter to Wen Shuyan hidden under your desk at home? What are you pretending to be so hypocritical for? Haven't you always liked Wen Shuyan? Gumi had known all along about my unrequited love for Wen Shuyan. Turns out there are people who would swoop in and steal someone just because their friend likes them. Thankfully, having lived through a lifetime, I'm not as impulsive as I used to be. Isn't it normal to have a crush on someone during adolescence? But I didn't interfere with his life or my own. I did what I thought was right. What's so shameful about that, Gumi? Just to borrow what someone else said, not everyone treats Wen Shuyan like a treasure. As I said this, Wen Shuyan kept staring at me, his gaze filled with intense scrutiny and a hint of surprise. After saying that, I didn't want to get entangled with the two of them, so I turned around and left the KTV. 8. I was waiting for a ride outside, and it was getting a bit late. The evening breeze dispelled my drunkenness. Soon, footsteps sounded behind me. I turned around and was surprised to see it was Wen Shuyan. Don't take what Gumi said to heart. she's always straightforward, but she didn't mean it personally. I stood by the roadside. My head lowered, the dim light cast a dark silhouette of the two of us. I looked at his shadow. Are you happy? He looked at me puzzled, seemed a bit confused. I asked again, are you happy with Yumiko? He squinted and exhaled quickly. You've also been reborn. 9, yes, from the moment when Shuyan's severed finger was sent to the hospital, I knew he had been reborn. Now both of us carry the memories of our past lives. Originally, only I had the memories of my previous life. I can bury those grudges deep within me. Now Shuyan also has memories of his past life. Rest assured, this time I won't do anything that affects you and Gume. If I had known in my previous life that you hated me so much because of this, I definitely wouldn't have chosen to do it, but talking about it now is pointless. I turned to look at him, his silver hair no longer as I remembered him, nor was he the carefree figure of his past life, successful and world-weary. I'm sorry for what I did to you before, but I still want to say that this has nothing to do with Yumiko. So please don't hold a grudge against her. I abruptly cut him off. Everything has been reshuffled. I don't want to dwell on past lives, and I ask you not to bring it up again. You and Yumiko have no connection to me. That's it, goodbye, or rather, never see each other again. I thought Shuyan was genuinely remorseful for what he did to me in our previous life. Turns out he was just worried I'd retaliate against Gume. He really thinks too highly of himself, watching him fall from grace. Watching him forever sink into the mire. Isn't this more satisfying than getting revenge on him? Gume chased out from the KTV. We were spotted talking by the roadside. With a shrill cry, she lunged forward and slapped Shuyan across the face. Oh, so that's how it is. Shuyan, you've been sneaking around with this little slut behind my back. Are you tired of me now? I gave so much for you, and this is how you repay me. Do you even have a conscience? I got rejected from the art school for your sake, and now I can't be a star. How do you face me and the child in my womb? So Gume was actually pregnant. I looked at the two of them in surprise. Just as the taxi arrived, I quickly opened the door and got in. I was afraid that if I was even a step late, something might happen to Gume. I'm going to be targeted by Shuyan's revenge again. 10. Later. I found out from my classmates. Gume discovered she was pregnant during her medical checkup. And she initially wanted to terminate the pregnancy, but Shuyan disagreed and insisted she keep the baby. That's right. In her previous life, Gume had gone to an unlicensed clinic to get an abortion because of her pregnancy, died from postpartum hemorrhage due to difficult labor. Just like in all those young adult tragic novels, there's no way Shuyan would let the events of her past life happen again. But none of this has anything to do with me. After the college entrance exam results were announced, Shuyan's score was only enough for a third-tier university, and Gume doesn't need to be mentioned, as she didn't even pass the physical examination for the art exam. My score wasn't particularly great either, but at least I got into a 211 university, heading to the university of my dreams. I can finally stay away from the two of them completely, to celebrate my return to the right path and my admission to a good school. My parents threw a grand banquet, inviting relatives and friends. Naturally, the parents of Shuyan, our next-door neighbors, were also invited. Of course, Shuyan didn't show up. My usually taciturn father was red-faced from drinking, raising his glass to toast everyone. When he got to Shuyan's parents, my dad couldn't help but say, "That boy, Shuyan, it's such a pity. I watched him grow up. And I always told our Cece to be as ambitious as her Shuyan brother." When Wen's mom heard this, her eyes welled up with tears, and her face turned extremely embarrassed, forced a smile. Who could disagree? These young people nowadays, I can't control them. If only he were as outstanding and sensible as Cece. My mom quickly tugged at my dad's clothes. Tell him to watch his words. Don't stab people in the heart. My dad immediately gave a dry laugh and said, "It's fine. Shuyan is a genius. Even if he doesn't pursue the piano path, he can still get into a good school through the general exam." However, this time around, there's no interference from me. When Shuyan had a falling out with his parents, he didn't go abroad for further studies. With his fingers injured, he decided to give up the piano and stay with the love of his youth. Instead of going to college, he took on the responsibilities of a man, taking care of Gume and the child she was carrying. During my college years, I occasionally heard updates about the two of them from our classmates' group chat. I heard they had a wedding, but since they weren't of legal age, they didn't get a marriage certificate. Shuyan initially found a job at a piano training class. Teaching young children piano isn't difficult, and his qualifications are sufficient. The salary is just enough to support himself, I heard life is simple and happy. Later on, I immersed myself in my studies and never opened the high school group chat again. After graduation, knowing some future developments from my past life, I joined a good company. In less than 3 years, I got promoted several times, become a highly paid executive earning millions, envied by all. My parents have been concerned about my marriage more than once. They say I'm getting older and should find a partner. Each time, I brush it off. Finally, my dad asked, "Cece, are you still thinking about that guy from the Wen family?" I was stunned. It had been such a long time since I last heard Wen Shuyan's name. He didn't enter the entertainment industry like he did in his previous life, become a top-tier, in-demand musician. He quietly faded into obscurity. I composed myself and chuckled. "Dad, what are you talking about?" "Hey, just talking casually. I heard that kid from the Wen family is also in Beijing, running a small company, seems to be doing quite well. Wen Shuyan has memories from her previous life, so she shouldn't have too tough a time in this one, right? He's married now. So whatever he's doing, it's none of my business. Let's not talk about his petty issues. Oh, your mom's calling me for dinner. I gotta go. Take good care of yourself while you're out of town. You hear me?" My dad hung up the phone in a hurry. I was lost in thought. 11. I didn't expect to meet Wen Shuyan so soon. It was a very niche restaurant. The decor was exquisite. A place arranged by a matchmaker friend for a blind date. I've met the other person a few times. They are a refined and handsome young man, full of vitality and hardworking. It seems they are quite interested in me and took the initiative to ask me out. I don't dislike them, so I happily agreed to the date. He arrived early, after I had taken my seat. He said, "It's cold outside, isn't it? What would you like to drink? This is my friend's place, and they have a coffee that's really rich in flavor." I said, "Anything is fine." My gaze swept across the restaurant and finally landed on the piano in the corner. A sudden jolt sent long-buried memories rushing back like a flood. I walked over unconsciously. There's a chipped corner on the piano. A Doraemon sticker was stuck on it. The sticker has yellowed over time, but it hasn't fallen off. It's clear that the owner has taken good care of it. My thoughts raced. When I was 12, both my parents were working overtime at their offices. Just that day, nearby streets were undergoing electrical maintenance, and several neighborhoods nearby lost power. I huddled by the window, trembling with fear, shining a flashlight, and recalling the horror movies I had watched with my classmates. I was so scared that I cried. It was then that someone knocked on the window. I screamed in fright. And then a gentle voice came. "Don't cry. My name is Wen Shuyan, and I just moved in next door. I heard you crying. Are you afraid of the dark? Have you had dinner? My mom made dinner for me, and there's plenty left." Seeing that I didn't speak, Wen Shuyan didn't say much. After a while, a lunchbox was pushed in through the window. "If you're still scared, shall I play the piano for you?" The power never came back that night. Wen Shuyan played one piano piece after another next door. He accompanied me through that long night, and this piano belongs to Wen Shuyan. The stickers on it were put there by me after we became close friends. When I ran to his house and accidentally scratched off the paint, I turned pale with fear, knowing even as a young kid that pianos were expensive. If my parents found out, they'd kill me for sure. He ruffled my hair and said, "It's okay, no worries. We once stuck this cartoon sticker together." Indeed. One should not meet someone too remarkable in their youth. My thoughts return. My blind date noticed my interest in this piano. I couldn't help but ask, "Do you play the piano too?" I shook my head, pressed a few keys, and chuckled softly. "I don't, but someone I used to know did, and he was really good." My blind date grinned at me. "What a coincidence. My friend here also plays the piano, but he injured his hand." I used to joke with him that if his hand hadn't been injured, he would definitely have been a master pianist. I froze in place. "Your friend? Well, he's the owner of this shop." Following the gaze of my blind date, I turned around instinctively. I saw a man in a black shirt standing not far away. He was wearing an apron, and his handsome face had a faint stubble. He looked much older, not like a young man, but more like a middle-aged man whose edges had been worn down by life. When Shuyan didn't seem to recognize me, he walked over, limping slightly. And I noticed he had a prosthetic leg. He greeted his blind date naturally. "Your girlfriend, she's very pretty. Why did you only bring her now?" His blind date gave an awkward smile. "Don't talk nonsense. Cece hasn't agreed to my pursuit yet." He seemed frozen in place. It took a while for his gaze to land on my face, as if confirming something. Finally, he spoke. "Qin Si, Wen Shuyan, long time no see." I nodded slightly and smiled. 12. "You've changed so much. I almost didn't recognize you." When Shuyan seemed to be searching for my old self in her memories, I said indifferently, that must be quite different from when we were in school. The blind date was caught between us, looking back and forth. You two know each other. What a coincidence. Yeah, what a coincidence. It's so strange that it feels uncanny. Probably because the atmosphere was a bit awkward. My blind date made an excuse to go to the bathroom, leaving us alone. When Shuyan finally spoke, "How have you been all these years?" "As you can see, not bad." When Shuyan nodded and looked in the direction of the blind date, "Song Yang is a good guy, sincere, hardworking, and comes from a well-off background. He's a good match." I chuckled but didn't respond. We had nothing to say to each other anyway. "Do you still play the piano?" I suddenly asked. He looked up in surprise, then let out a wry smile. "I do play occasionally, but you know, with my hand injury, there's no way I can get back to how I was at 15. "What about Yumiko? The child must be in elementary school by now, right?" He remained silent for a long time. "I got divorced from her." He suddenly started rambling to me about his experiences over the years. Back then, he didn't take the college entrance exam. After spending all the prize money he earned from various competitions, the two once found themselves in a difficult situation. Gume insists on the best of everything, the best hospital, mountains of skincare and nutritional products. But having a baby is no small matter. The expenses are enormous. After the child was born, Gume insisted on hiring a postpartum doula, but at that time, both of them were completely out of savings. Gume's parents had already cut off all ties with her. They ignored her completely, leaving no options. When Shuyan had to support the family and take care of Gume and the child, he had not considered asking his parents for help, but perhaps it was due to his pride. Or maybe it was because of the memories from his previous life. He felt that if he wanted to, making money wouldn't be difficult. He copied several of his previous life's hit scores and submitted them to various production companies. Without any connections, he was repeatedly turned away. He was even exposed for plagiarism once. It was a song that had been completed but not yet released. When Shuyan was sued and had to pay a hefty sum, after learning about it, his parents came to him and said they would help if he agreed to break up with Gumai. They could help him pay off his debts. When Shuyan naturally refused, so he borrowed from loan sharks. Unable to repay, he ended up with a broken leg from the debt collectors. Those were extremely difficult days for him, but Gume showed no understanding for him at all, scolding him every day as a useless waste, and even claimed that being a gigolo earned more than him. During that time, the couple argued incessantly over the child and the cost of milk powder. The fleeting beauty of their youth was gradually worn down by the mundane realities of life. Gume began to dress up extravagantly before going out, comes home every day reeking of alcohol. When Shuyan lies exhausted on the bed, struggling to care for her crying infant, the conflicts between the two are growing increasingly severe. Eventually, when the child was 4 months old, Gume went out as usual, and never came back. When Shuyan eventually returned to the Wen family with her child, after 2 years he picked himself up and started over, doing whatever it took, starting with street vending. Once nimble fingers that played the piano are now covered in wrinkles and calluses. Gradually, he saved up enough to eventually open this coffee shop. After hearing all this, I couldn't help but feel a bit wistful. But that's all it was, wistfulness. The blind date has returned. Our conversation came to an abrupt end. 13. Just as I was leaving, when Shuyan couldn't help but call out to me, "Do you still hate me?" I turned back to look at him. "Hate? What do I hate you for?" "For sending me to those investors' rooms. For not saving me when I was in danger." He let out a bitter laugh. "In my previous life, I was too extreme and too arrogant, blaming you entirely for Gume's death. I'm sorry. This apology is 8 years too late. Unfortunately, I don't need it. I'm just curious about one thing." He asked. "What?" "In this life, you chose the life you wanted, a life of beauty and abundance. But it turned out like this. Do you regret it?" He hesitated and did not answer, but I already knew the answer. 14. During the spring festival, I went back to my hometown. Helping my parents move, I bought them a large flat in the city center. I got a new car for my dad. I met the Wens again during the move. There was a quarrel inside the house, and pots and pans were clattering. I asked my parents suspiciously, "Do they always argue like this?" My mom looked ready to dish some gossip. "You haven't been back much these years, so you might not know, but didn't that guy Wen Shuyan have a child with a woman?" "It's a boy," and the woman left. "I think she was your high school classmate, right?" "The woman left Wen Shuyan because he's disabled and couldn't make money. She ran off with a wealthy man, and just last month, she suddenly came back all decked out in gold and silver, guess what she's back for? I frowned, looking for the child. Exactly, that woman wants to take the child away, but these old folks won't let her, so she dropped a bombshell. The child isn't Wen Shuyan's, but from some other man. It said that she's been with the child's biological father for the past few years, and it seems he's made it big. Now that she can't have children, she wants to take the child back. My mouth twitched. How can there be such a melodramatic situation? I thought they were truly in love. My dad chimed in too. When Shuyan also came back, rushed to the hospital for a paternity test, and found out the kid really wasn't his. You should have seen it that day. It got really crazy. You didn't see Wen Shuyan's eyes. They looked like he wanted to kill someone. He kept going on about how much he had sacrificed for her, how if it weren't for Gume, he could have been a renowned international pianist, and how his bright future was ruined, only to be treated like this. Anyway, there were tears and laughter, and knives were involved. The woman was slashed a few times, but not critically. However, the Wen family's son also got locked up. And the old couple wanted to settle it privately. The other party wouldn't agree, insisting that Wen Shuyan go to jail. In the end, the child was returned to the woman, but the Wen family still had to sell their house and pay a hefty sum. After hearing that, I felt the impermanence of life. Stinky tofu wrapped in intestines. 15. When the moving company arrived, the alley entrance is blocked by cardboard boxes. I saw Wen Shuyan smoking by the door. I pretended not to see him and turned to leave. He suddenly grabbed my hand. Cece, I regret it. I never imagined the life I wanted would turn out to be so miserable. Only now do I realize how much you helped me in my previous life, and yet I treated you so poorly. Now, I think about those past events every day, and I deeply regret it. I deeply regret how I treated you. If those events from my previous life hadn't happened, if Gume had died, if it were you who stayed with me, would I be very happy in this life? Why didn't you stop me? Didn't you always like me? When Shuyan looked at me with pleading eyes, and I unceremoniously shook off his hand. Please behave with dignity. Wen Shuyan, I'm telling you again, this is the life you wanted. No matter what choices you make, someone like you will never find happiness. I used to like you, but I liked the warm young man, the one who played the piano for me over and over again in the dark, not the current Wen Shuyan. He finally withdrew his hand in defeat. I left the alley without looking back. The pent-up frustration in my chest finally dissipated. Past events, all like fleeting clouds. 16 Postscript. When Shuyan committed suicide, he died on New Year's Eve. His parents' wailing was deafening. He left a suicide note. It only contained one sentence. If only I could start over again. I don't know if Wen Shuyan was reborn again, but what I do know is, a selfish person like him, no matter how many times he tries, will never achieve a perfect life. Life is inherently filled with regrets, yet he blames all his mistakes on others. Such people will never find happiness. The end. Story 2. My brother hit someone on the basketball court and made me deliver the apology letter. Out of sheer curiosity, I couldn't resist opening the envelope and suddenly saw bullet comments. LOL. So many people on the court, yet he specifically targets the female lead. This guy's totally doing it on purpose. Does he really think this would get her attention? Can these siblings have some shame? One intentionally hurts people on the court, the other keeps pestering the male lead non-stop. Are they addicted to being roadblocks in our main couple's love story? This is really annoying to watch. Can these two siblings just calm down and stop interfering with the main couple's relationship? It's fine, hahaha. Both siblings are simps. The guy is even more of a coward who's been secretly in love the whole time. LOL. Just treat it as entertainment. What? I can accept being called a simp, but my brother, a 6 feet 2 inches hunk with abs, basketball skills, charm, sunshine personality, emotional intelligence, and a sexy voice is also a simp, and he's doing secret pining. I'm dying of laughter. Overnight, the apology letter was revised into a love confession and sent to the female lead. 1. When Li Chaoqiao returned from the office. I'd been waiting in the hallway for almost 10 minutes. The scorching sunlight spilled over the ends of her hair, her faded school uniform buttoned properly up to the top. Her skin was pale, her eyes rimmed red, looking utterly vulnerable and easy to bully, and indeed, that was the case. She clutched the competition test paper in her hand. Every single problem is marked with full correct check marks. Yet red pen corrections for more concise solutions are written beside them. It's not hard to guess. She must have been hurt by someone's harsh words. I narrowed my eyes and straightened up. The girls behind me followed closely, completely blocking her path. So you're Li Chaoqiao. I crossed my arms, eyeing her with a haughty gaze. Many people in the hallway turned to look curiously, whispering among themselves, "What's going on? How did Li Chaoqiao manage to offend that young lady? Someone said lazily, who knows, probably because she's been spending all these days with Jiang Tingzhou working on the math competition. That young lady must be unhappy about it. No wonder, judging by this situation, she's probably about to get a warning. The surrounding whispers never ceased. Li Chaoqiao clenched the hem of her clothes tightly. When she raised her head, her moist deer-like eyes trembled slightly, clearly nervous. Yet her tone struggled to remain calm. Is there something you need? At this moment, the barrage was filled with criticism. After pestering the male lead, now she's bullying the female lead too. This makes me so mad. Does she really think the male lead would fall for her this way? Is she about to cause trouble again? I'm kinda scared our precious female lead better not get bullied. Don't worry, if she dares to lay a finger on the female lead, the male lead will come warn her in seconds. But it seems the male and female leads haven't developed feelings for each other yet. There would still be subconscious actions. After all, our male and female leads are a match made in heaven. Among so many bullet comments, I only caught 2 words, bullying. Do I look like I'm here to bully someone? Li Chaoqiao maintained her calm expression, watching us without showing any emotion. A slight clench of the fingers could feel every crease on the exam paper, as if to remind. Attempting to touch what doesn't belong to you is bound to bring trouble upon yourself. Just as she was wondering what I would say to challenge her, a rich floral fragrance suddenly wafted through the air. A love letter abruptly appeared right before her eyes. Hey, so here's the thing, my brother has a crush on you, but he was too shy, so he asked me to deliver this love letter to you. The pink envelope was neatly squared, bearing a postmark, with pretty dried flowers adorning its seal. Li Chaoqiao froze momentarily. Such an exquisite letter seemed utterly disconnected from her plain appearance. The recipient field clearly bore her name. Just securing the scholarship to alleviate poverty had already drained all her energy. She had never envisioned such a scenario, so now she had absolutely no idea how to react. The belated heartbeat thunders like a drum, amidst the surrounding teasing. It nearly overwhelms her, eyes rimmed red, earlobes flushed, cheeks even redder. So adorable. She deserves to be with a handsome guy like my brother. I placed the envelope into her palm with a smile. The warm love letter carried the sun's heat, making her fingertips curl slightly. The surrounding cheers grew even louder. Her face flushed red to the tips of her ears as she stammered, Is that the one from the basketball court the other day? She seemed somewhat unsure. Yeah, the one who accidentally hit you with the ball the other day. The once dull memory suddenly flashed with a bold and vibrant streak of red. The boy wore a red jersey, his sharp eyebrows and eyes contrasting with the moment he crouched down to awkwardly apologize to her, carefully asking if she was all right. Unlike Jiang Tingzhou's aloof and indifferent demeanor, he still carried the scorching heat of the afternoon sun, thin muscles on his arms glistening with sweat, that unique youthful vitality, vigorous and passionate, almost enveloping her. Yet at such a moment, her attention fell on those sneakers. The expensive limited edition sneakers silently delineated their class divide. He was like Jiang Tingzhou, yet different. Despite the urgency of the competition, he found another brother to take her to the infirmary and even handed her his card, saying it was to cover the medical expenses. The moment the young man turned around, she saw the name printed on the back of the jersey, Xing Chaoming. A name that feels full of vigor just by uttering it. Remember now, my brother, Class 8 senior year, Xing Chaoming. I winked at her. She slowly clenched the love letter, her voice soft with slight tremors from nervousness. He really likes you, but he's a coward. The morning sunlight was blazing and radiant. Her eyelashes fluttered slightly as she couldn't help but think. Such a dazzling young man that one hardly dared to look at him. Could he actually be a coward, too? Because of this matter, I've been getting bombarded with hate comments in the bullet chats for days. You just had to mess with the main couple's relationship, didn't you? So disgusting. Does she really think the female lead would fall for her brother? Talk about being delusional. LMAO, her brother is textbook second male lead material. The male lead might seem cold, but the female lead totally digs his cold exterior. Warm heart vibe, indeed. For a heroine with low self-esteem and sensitivity, silent companionship feels more natural. When personalities differ too greatly, interactions only breed discomfort. Accepting the love letter was merely to avoid an awkward situation. How could she possibly have genuine feelings for her brother? Is that really the case? When I entered carrying my exam supplies, I happened to see Li Chaoqiao, her cheeks flushed pink, her mind somewhat distracted. Her wandering gaze kept falling upon the young man diagonally ahead. That's my brother, Xing Chaoming. My eyes followed, then suddenly froze, his gaze fixed on the chocolate still lying in Xing Chaoming's palm. What's this? didn't give it away, or was it rejected? After checking the monthly exam seating chart in advance, I learned that Li Chiaqiao was also assigned to our examination hall. I immediately shared this news with Xing Chaoming. Xing Chaoming responded with a casual showing little reaction except for a faint redness at the tips of his ears. Sensing something amiss, I asked, "You already knew about this, didn't you?" "A friend told me. They also know you have a crush on Li Chiaqiao." "That shouldn't be possible. When did you become so open about it?" Noticing Xing Chaoming's gloomy gaze, I remembered, "Oh, seems like I was too conspicuous when delivering the letter that day." About me changing the love letter into an apology letter, he found out from friends that very same day, but he didn't deny it, saying it would embarrass the girl otherwise. I saw right through him. He clearly likes her, so I deliberately took out the chocolates my friend brought me from abroad and asked him to give them to Li Chiaqiao the next day. The usually composed and steady young man suddenly showed a rare hint of awkwardness. He hesitated and asked me, "Wouldn't it be too sudden?" I was puzzled. Don't you give gifts when pursuing a girl? Chasing girls means giving them flowers, bags, and gifts. Just sweet talk without spending money isn't pursuit, it's harassment, I declared righteously. Xing Chaoming fully agreed. I just never expected that the first time I gave a girl a gift, I'd be mercilessly rejected. I couldn't help but take a couple of glances at Xing Chaoming. He was resting his head on one hand, eyelids drooping. His pale complexion was tinged with a faint blush. He seemed to be deep in thought, or perhaps just spacing out. The chocolate between those long fingers had already been mangled beyond recognition. A barrage of mocking comments flooded the screen. LMAO, I told you the female lead wouldn't fancy a side character. Serves him right getting brutally rejected. Turns out he's the real clown here, ha 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 ha. They all just simps for the male and female leads. Might as well treat it as watching a circus. Simp, ha ha ha. I actually feel a bit sorry for ourselves. 3. With a wooden expression, I didn't stop when passing by Jiang Tingzhou, but forward, passing right by him. The typically indifferent young man's eyelids twitched uncharacteristically. Yes, not just Li Chiaqiao and my brother, even Jiang Tingzhou was in the same exam hall with us, as expected. Supporting characters exist solely to embellish the protagonist's romance. My brother is already miserable enough, I can't afford to lose face anymore. The seating arrangement for the monthly exam wasn't strict. I easily swapped seats with the boy in front of me, sat down next to Li Chiaqiao. She suddenly snapped back to reality, with loose strands of hair falling by her ears, covering those slightly flustered eyes. The pen placed on the edge of the table was knocked off by an elbow and rolled to my feet. The emblem on the pen cap wasn't clear, only the letter L was visible. The pen body is also severely worn, revealing the base color beneath the plating. I was just about to bend down to help her pick it up, but she left her seat first, reached out to retrieve the pen, and clenched it tightly in her palm. "Thank you," she whispered quickly, recognizing my good intentions. I slightly let go of my usual reserved demeanor and gave her a friendly smile. "You're welcome. Can this kind of fountain pen still be used for writing problems?" I couldn't help but glance at her. After the test papers were handed out, she took out a gel pen from her pencil case and neatly wrote her name. The mottled lacquer pen lay quietly by the edge of the table, more like a form of companionship. My thoughts wandered. Perhaps she refused Xing Chaoming because she doesn't like chocolate. Next time, have Xing Chaoming deliver her school supplies. Surely she won't refuse again. The cicadas chirping outside the window harmonized with the rustling sound of students writing answers in the classroom. I didn't know how to write, so I spun my pen, rested my chin on my hand, and openly stared at her. She solved problems slowly and meticulously, bending slightly at the waist, writing stroke by stroke, unhurried and unruffled. I heard she was the first from her hometown to be admitted to high school, struggling free from a family that favored sons over daughters. She persevered through everyone's doubts and pressures to reach where she is now, like a small white flower breaking through the soil of a sheer cliff. Beneath the seemingly fragile appearance lies a stubborn and unyielding soul. How could someone who craves love and approval so much fall for someone as cold and nearly caustic as Jiang Tingzhou? I can't figure it out. Perhaps my gaze was too intense. She tilted her head slightly to look at me. When she noticed I'd left the last multiple-choice question blank, she pursed her lips and secretly gestured a C to me with her fingers. My eyes instantly lit up. Way more generous than those stingy guys like Jiang Tingzhou. Such a soft-hearted, kind, gentle and generous girl deserves to be with my brother. So what if I'm a simp? I want to be her little simp too. 4. Jiang Tingzhou, as usual, handed in the exam paper half an hour early. A chilly aura passed by from the side, those dark, deep eyes lifted slightly, their gaze lingering for a moment on my already completed exam paper. At that moment, I was sprawled over the desk, idly drawing circles on the scratch paper, clearly waiting for someone. But until he handed in the exam paper and was about to leave the classroom, no sound of chairs being dragged was heard behind him. The invigilator looked at the young man who had left and returned, asking in surprise, "What's wrong?" "Forgot my pen," he said quietly. The crisp and neat trouser legs passed by me for the second time, and I'm still drawing circles, without the slightest intention of looking up. The attention that should have been spent on Jiang Tingzhou is now being spent on Li Qiaoqiao. I drew circles while feeling troubled. What excuse should I use to get Li Qiaoqiao and my brother to have a meal together later? 5. In the last 5 minutes, Li Qiaoqiao stood up to hand in her exam paper. Xing Qiaoming and I capped our pens simultaneously, shoulder to shoulder, following right behind her out of the classroom. "Why didn't you go find Jiang Tingzhou today?" he asked. I pouted. "Don't feel like looking for him." Outwardly we were just following the crowd, but in truth we were tailing her all the way to the cafeteria. After getting our food, we both took seats opposite her. When Li Qiaoqiao looked up, she happened to see two faces with strikingly similar features staring intently at her. I deliberately ignored the many empty seats around and winked at her. "The cafeteria is too crowded. Mind if we sit here?" She lowered her head and whispered, "And no problem. Please sit." Xing Qiaoming and I rarely eat at the first-floor public cafeteria. Noticing the greens on her plate, my mouth moved faster than my thoughts. "Why aren't you eating any meat? This is so nutritionally lacking." As I spoke, I picked up a piece of braised pork, but the moment it touched my tongue, I couldn't help retching. "Ugh, this tastes awful." Li Qiaoqiao paused slightly and hesitantly asked, "Is it because it's gone bad?" Yet the glossy appearance and rich aroma didn't quite seem to suggest that. "It's fine, she's quite picky about food," Xing Qiaoming explained apologetically to her, then handed me a tissue to wipe my mouth. Oh, okay." Li Qiaoqiao awkwardly averted her gaze. She was about to say she had an unopened bottle of water in her bag when she saw me stand up. "I'll go buy some milk to rinse my mouth. You two take your time eating." That slender hand had just touched the zipper of the bag when it withdrew nervously again. Only 2 people remained at the dining table. The atmosphere suddenly seemed to become awkward. Li Qiaoqiao lowered her head even further, keeping her gaze fixed on her own plate as she ate bite by bite. Suddenly, she heard the young man across from her tentatively ask, "Have you been trying to lose weight lately?" Her shabbiness suddenly found a fitting excuse. Li Qiaoqiao's hand paused as she responded with an almost inaudible, with heavy academic pressure these days, you still need to eat properly." Xing Qiaoming lowered his gaze at her, speaking slowly and gravely, "She probably won't be coming back. Could you help finish the meat? Don't let it go to waste." Before she could voice her refusal, he had already picked up the plate and heaped all the meat onto hers. The person before them remained silent for a long time. Xing Qiaoming lifted his gaze, meeting those moist, red and deer-like eyes. She stared fixedly at him, her eyes swirling with unreadable emotions, only to forcibly conceal them the next moment beneath a soft, watery gaze. That look inexplicably felt familiar to Xing Qiaoming, so familiar it made his heart ache. "It's heartbreaking." She looked at him, then suddenly curved into a smile, speaking softly yet clearly and firmly, "Thank you." Xing Qiaoming. 6. After the monthly exams ended, I devoted all my attention to Li Qiaoqiao, so I didn't go find Jiang Tingzhou for many days in a row. I never expected him to come looking for me himself. I reluctantly walked out of the classroom. What? Test paper. His pale fingers held my math exam. The score was a disaster. He stood there with an aloof posture, not even bothering to glance down. I couldn't be bothered to ask more, just took the paper and turned to leave. Suddenly, another force came from the other end of the test paper. He didn't let go. The young man suddenly spoke up. "The last question's answer is D." I turned back and looked at him in confusion. "The papers have all been graded. Why are you telling me this?" Seeing my confused expression, he coldly added, "Not C." Just then, someone passed by behind us. His gaze swept lightly across, his voice neither loud nor soft. A problem solvable by observing recursion. Yet someone insists on calculating functions for 10 minutes, not sure if it's lack of ability or excess of energy. What on earth is he talking about? This is utterly baffling. I don't want to deal with it. When I turned my head again, all I could see in my peripheral vision was the slender and delicate figure of a girl at the stairway corner. I didn't have time to guess. My wrist was suddenly grabbed by someone behind me. His cool palm was as cold as his personality. His knuckles felt rough, the grip uncomfortably tight. I turned back in disbelief. The person who usually detests physical contact is now actively holding my hand. Wait for me after school. His Adam's apple bobbed repeatedly, and after much hesitation, he finally uttered this rather awkward sentence. It seems ever since Li Chiaoqiao appeared, I stopped going to find him after school, but back when I used to wait for him to walk together. He clearly found it annoying. I stared at his face, scrutinizing every inch of it, until he became visibly uncomfortable under my gaze. Is there something on my face? He couldn't help but ask. This wasn't the Jiang Tingzhou I knew. With a stern expression, I stood on tiptoe and pinched his chin. No matter who you are, please get off Jiang Tingzhou's body. 7. The next day when I went to find Li Chiaoqiao, she looked somewhat embarrassed, clenched her pen tightly, and softly apologized to me because of choosing the wrong answer. I instantly realized who Jiang Tingzhou's sarcastic remarks that day were directed at. What a jerk. How could he be so malicious? Just because he gets good grades doesn't make him special. He's really showing off. Clenching my fists in anger, I was about to get up and confront him, yet she grabbed my hand again. It's not about others, it's my own problem. Watching her blame herself like this, a pang of bitterness welled up in my chest. Li Chiaoqiao, look at me. I sat back down and grasped her hand. You're already amazing. You're in the top 3 of your grade. Jiang Tingzhou is just a jerk. Don't believe a single punctuation mark he says. In my eyes, you're better than 100 Jiang Tingzhous combined. Tomorrow I'll go yell at him for you. He's utterly unreasonable, thick-skinned, hypocritical, two-faced, and shameless. I hope he comes in last place in the competition. I was indignant and let out a rapid-fire rant. Li Chiaoqiao guiltily raised her hand to remind me. It's a team competition. Oh. It seems Li Chiaoqiao is also inside. Seeing my expression of wanting to make amends, she suddenly pursed her lips and smiled. Seeing the atmosphere was just right, I casually extended the invitation. Hey, my brother has a basketball game on Friday afternoon. Would you like to come watch? Her earlobes turned slightly red. I might be busy, preparing for the competition. She shook her head, her fingers clutching the hem of her clothes with some difficulty. Probably, going back to my hometown for a while. But my brother is super cool at basketball. Even 2 minutes would be great. He really hopes you'll come. I pleaded pitifully, softening my voice. She couldn't resist and finally agreed. 8. I just never expected Jiang Tingzhou would come to play basketball too. 3 years. And I'd never seen Jiang Tingzhou play before. The barrage comments are going crazy. OMG. I'm so excited. The unattainable flower actually came down to play basketball himself. Is it because he knew the female lead was coming to watch the game today? It must be. Didn't you see how the female lead kept staring at the male lead? Her eyes never left him. They're such a perfect match. If only those 2 siblings weren't here. Exactly. Who does her brother think he's showing off for on the court with his peacock display? Hope he doesn't block our main couple's eye contact. I'm about to lose my mind. I leaned my face close to Li Chiaoqiao and asked, what are you looking at? She was startled by me. Looking at the score. I followed her gaze, which happened to be directed towards Jiang Tingzhou, so I manually adjusted her head, pointed at the young man in the red jersey, and domineeringly commanded, look at my brother. Her face turned slightly red. Oh, okay, Jiang Tingzhou is undoubtedly handsome, but that's all he is. When it comes to ball skills, my brother is still the best. My brother naturally has outstanding bone structure. With a face that instantly tells you he's handsome, paired with the occasional glimpse of his abdominal muscle contours when jumping, accurate 3-pointers, and occasional slam dunks, every move he makes can trigger plenty of screams. During halftime, many girls went up to give him water. I handed the bottled water I had prepared earlier to Li Chiaoqiao, urging her to go up too. She clenched her clothes and shook her head like a rattle drum, refusing to take even one step. You should go instead. Why, look, he hasn't accepted water from any of them. He's waiting for you. That's precisely the reason. Her uneasy gaze occasionally fell upon those rejected girls, fearful of the same rejection, and afraid of those mocking stares. And as luck would have it, Xun Chaoming stopped again and exchanged a few words with a girl wearing a cheerleader uniform. The bottle of mineral water that had been so hard to press into Li Chiaoqiao's hands was now being shyly pushed back by her with flushed cheeks. Clearly, within just 2 minutes, Li Chiaoqiao had already retreated 99 steps and was ready to give up completely. Seeing that I was about to pressure her again, she hastily made up an excuse and quickly stood up. I've drunk too much water. I need to use the restroom. But, the next second, her wrist was suddenly gripped by a scorching palm. She turned her head in panic. That flamboyant red filled her entire vision. Their gazes met, sparking flames. only to simultaneously look away the next second. Stumbling back from the force, she sat down again, not daring to raise her head. Xing Qiaoming crouched before her, his other hand resting on the chair back, cutting off her escape route. Yet her nervous fingers remained clenched, as if even her breath had begun to freeze. The young man's face flushed red as he aimed the small fan he'd just picked up at her, his gaze intense. He asked softly, "Are you hot?" A refreshing cool breeze lifted the stray hairs by her ears. The stifling heat of summer was swept away in an instant. She looked up in a daze, meeting that fervent and sincere gaze, just as she hesitated whether to take a step forward. The young man had already surpassed everyone and taken 101 steps ahead, standing before her under the gaze of everyone. In that instant, she was overwhelmed by the deafening sound of her own heartbeat. 9. To make room for them, I consciously moved to the side. Suddenly, a slender shadow fell before me. I shifted my leg aside to clear the aisle, yet the person remained motionless, puzzled. I looked up and met Jiang Tingzhou's moist dark eyes, pale skin flushed red. Beads of sweat gathering along the sharp jawline before dripping down, with thick long lashes casting shadows. The soaked jersey clung to lean muscles, outlining a firm and powerful waist, a stark contrast to his usual icy demeanor. So handsome. No, I can't let myself be bewitched. I put on a stern face again. "Where's the water?" he asked abruptly. I gave him a strange look. "Of course I gave it to my brother, then where's mine?" He pursed his lips and asked again. There's a barely detectable stubbornness in the voice, carrying hints of grievance and accusation. I guiltily touch my nose. "You didn't say you wanted it." As he speaks, his gaze has already landed on my pink water bottle filled with juice. I immediately shield it, reminding him, "It's orange juice inside." He hates orange juice the most, but the next second, he bent down close to me, with precarious beads of sweat dripping down his Adam's apple. His long fingers slid along my palm, grasped the cup, and snatched it away. I didn't have time to stop him. With swift movements, he effortlessly twisted open the bottle cap, tilted his head back, and drained every last drop of my orange juice in just 3 seconds. I was dumbfounded and immediately exploded. "Jiang Tingzhou, you're dead." "That was mine. I already drank from it." Noted. He showed no reaction whatsoever, even curling his lips slightly. "I'll buy you a new one after I finish this game." "Wait, what? Isn't this guy supposed to be a germaphobe?" 10. Li Chiaoqiao was going back to her hometown for the weekend, and Xing Qiaoming also disappeared for 2 days. When Monday came, Li Chiaoqiao was wearing long sleeves and pants. She also wore a mask and a hat, with only her dewy doe eyes exposed. "Why are you covering yourself up so much?" I sat down at the desk in front of her, propping my chin as I studied her. "I caught a cold by accident." Her voice was muffled by the mask as she kept her head lowered, reluctant to meet my eyes. Her pale fingers gripped the pen tightly, writing out the solution steps character by character on the test paper. "Just like always. But you don't need to wear long sleeves in this heat." Noticing the sweat-dampened strands of hair on her forehead, I got up and brought Jiang Tingzhou's small fan to her desk, yet she still declined. "No need." As her slender wrist lifted, I suddenly noticed the band-aid stuck to her wrist bone. "What happened here?" I grabbed her wrist, about to push up her sleeve to look. She forcefully pulled away, hiding that part of her wrist deeper, urgently saying, "It's nothing, just a scratch." "Is that so?" Seeing her resistance, I could only set aside my desire to get to the bottom of it and instead asked with concern, "Have you applied the medicine yet?" "I have." Her eyes glistening slightly as she looked at me, speaking sincerely yet softly, "Thank you, Xing Xia." That evening when I returned home, I asked Xing Qiaoming about the matter. He clearly knew some inside information but was unwilling to share too much with me. There are things she doesn't want others to know, and pressing too much will only make her feel worse. This was the first time Xing Qiaoming spoke to me so seriously about this matter. Give her some time, she'll handle it. I still couldn't rest easy. What if something like this happens again? I even saw the wounds on her wrist. It won't. Nothing like this will ever happen again. His gaze was steady, his tone resolute. 11. It seems since this incident occurred, their relationship began to make new progress. Not only did they eat meals and take walks together every day, but they also made plans to study together at the library. Sometimes I still really admire Xing Qiaoming. The cafeteria food is so terrible. Yet he managed to eat it for a whole month straight. Occasionally on campus, I would bump into the two of them from time to time. Their interactions were still quite awkward, with enough space between them as they walked side by side that I could practically fit in between. The slightest physical contact would make one blush and the other's ears turn red. Their conversations were also barely above a whisper. I'm getting anxious about their progress. Not only that, but Xing Chaoming is coming home later and later these days. I usually don't hear the sound of him opening the door until after 10 p.m. I pointed fingers and asked him what mischief he'd been up to. He didn't want to tell me, but couldn't stand my persistent malicious speculations. Finally, he had no choice but to confess helplessly, working at a restaurant. I was shocked. You, Xing Chaoming, you're working. Our Xing family hasn't fallen to such dire straits, has it? Seeing my disbelief, he had to make it clearer. Li Chiaoqiao works at a restaurant in the night market. The crowd there is more complicated, so I'd feel better keeping an eye on her. Why does she need to work? Isn't the scholarship enough to cover tuition? I asked, puzzled. After all, our school has many rich second-generation students who donate a lot of money. The scholarship alone amounts to about 100,000 yuan a year, Xing Chaoming explained. She has many expenses. Then why don't you help her? What about your savings? Xing Chaoming also sighed helplessly. She refuses to use my money. Oh, then there's nothing to be done. I gazed at the dazzling chandelier on the ceiling and suddenly asked again, brother, when will you two officially get together? The villa is truly too empty. Our parents passed away early, and grandfather was always busy with company affairs. On ordinary days, the empty villa only had us two siblings. If only Li Chiaoqiao could move in. His footsteps paused slightly, and suddenly the tips of his ears turned red. No rush, take your time. 12. The barrage still mocked daily, saying things that were similar yet not quite the same. How Jiang Tingzhou was the world's ordained male lead, that the female lead would inevitably end up with him, that disrupting the romantic plotline would lead to a bad ending, and that supporting characters could never escape their doomed fate. I got annoyed, and consequently found Jiang Tingzhou annoying too. In the past, I was the one bombarding Jiang Tingzhou with messages every day. Now it's Jiang Tingzhou harassing me daily. Good morning, good night, have you eaten, are you asleep, want some milk tea, wanna hang out? Every morning when I open my eyes, all I see is his handsome yet cold face. Every time I just sat down next to Li Chiaoqiao with the test paper, before I could even ask, he would pull me to his seat, ask me. The final year of high school was gradually coming to an end. This should have been a time to focus more on studies, yet Li Chiaoqiao grew increasingly restless, often zoning out during class and struggling to concentrate during tests. She would often stare blankly at the exam papers before her, occasionally shedding tears without warning, as if something was weighing on their mind. In the final mock exam, her grades plummeted drastically, but when I asked, she just forced a weak smile and said it was nothing, that she'd been too tired lately, yet her fingertips clutching the old-fashioned phone were already turning red from the pressure. My heart ached as I watched, just about to offer comfort when I happened to see the incoming call on the screen. Mom, she reacted as if burned, quickly turning off the screen, meeting my gaze. She seemed about to say something to cover it up. Suddenly, a weight settled on her shoulders. I bent down and held her tightly, pressing her head against me, tears streaming as I coaxed. Tell me, okay, Li Chiaoqiao, tell me what exactly happened to you. Someone so resilient, so unyielding. What could have possibly tortured you like this? What could it be that left you utterly defenseless, forcing you to throw away your future? The body in my arms stiffened for a moment, then began to tremble violently. The carefully maintained facade of calm finally crumbled at this moment. She clung to me desperately, her shoulders shaking violently. The suppressed sobs grew uncontrollably louder. She burst into audible tears. A restless and fervent afternoon. Those painful emotions found a brief release, but in the end, she still chose not to tell me the truth. Even as tears still streamed down her own face, she reached up to wipe away my tears. Delicate fingers brushed against the side of my face. She tried hard to smile at me, word by word. It sounded like a promise, yet also like a farewell. Believe me, this time, I will definitely do better. 13. Those once obscure statements became increasingly clear as the college entrance exam approached. On June 10th, Xing Chaoming took Jiang Tingzhou and me to Li Chiaoqiao's small rented apartment to celebrate her birthday. She wore a white dress that day, which was rare for her. The faded cotton dress had a vintage feel, with uneven stitching. Though it didn't look new, under the dim light, it still suited her, pure, clean, beautiful like the white moonlight on the horizon. After the cake was brought out, she gave us a smile, one we hadn't seen in a long time. As the birthday song played, in the flickering candlelight, she gazed at us with tearful eyes and a smile. It felt like an omen of parting. Suddenly, my heart ached with bitterness. The moment the candles were blown out, she clasped her hands, bowed her head, and made her 18th wish with utmost devotion. It's not about wishing for smooth college entrance exams or a bright future, nor is it about hoping everything goes well in life hereafter. With tears streaming down, she said, I wish my friends health, safety, and longevity. 14. The gift Xing Chaoming prepared was a Lamy fountain pen. He always acts thoughtfully, knowing that overly expensive gifts would burden Li Qiaoqiao, so I chose the most practical gift. It looked somewhat familiar to me, then suddenly the power went out at home. Plunging the room into darkness, Li Qiaoqiao asked Jiang Tingzhou and me to buy some candles. Before leaving the house, she suddenly walked over, stood on tiptoe, and hugged me tightly, a hug so forceful it felt like she was trying to imprint me into her memory. She whispered in my ear, "Thank you, Xinxia." 13. Not only did Jiang Tingzhou and I buy candles, but we also got her a new white dress. But when we returned carrying full shopping bags, we discovered the entire room was covered in blood. Li Qiaoqiao's parents were terrified. That sharp knife was also thrown on the ground. They just came for money, but now, it's turned into a fatal incident. Xing Chaoming lay collapsed not far away, his neck bone fractured at an unnatural angle, a large pool of blood spreading from his head. Tears burst from my eyes as I trembled and rushed over. Brother, brother. No matter how much he shook them, the person on the ground showed no sign of consciousness. Jiang Tingzhou picked up the blood-stained knife. At that very moment, Li Qiaoqiao suddenly rushed over and collided with the blade. The blade pierced through the heart. Her fingers clenched desperately around the blade, preventing Jiang Tingzhou from pulling it out, blood dripping between her fingers, yet she still felt it wasn't enough, her pleading eyes begging him to stab deeper. Li Qiaoqiao, Li Qiaoqiao. Jiang Tingzhou caught her collapsing figure. Her pupils constricted sharply from the pain, yet she forcibly swallowed back her scream. A smile curled at her lips as her gaze fixed on Jiang Tingzhou, weakly forming the words with her mouth. I'm sorry. 15. The moment she collapsed, time seemed infinitely stretched, then cruelly compressed. She saw her father clutching a blood-stained liquor bottle 3 steps away, his clouded pupils reflecting her collapsing figure. For 18 years, these eyes had only held space for 2 things: his treasured son, and the scholarship money she sent home, and at this moment, those dead fish-like eyes finally cracked open a slit, as the usually authoritative figure stumbled and knelt in her pool of blood. For the first time, he shed tears for her. Qiao, Qiao. The mother's eyes also nearly burst from their sockets as she crawled over on hands and knees, wailing in agony, Zhaodi, Zhaodi ah, my Zhaodi. This name that had accompanied her for 18 years was like a poison-dipped needle, piercing viciously into her flesh. She remembered so many things, yet it felt like she had forgotten just as many, remembering how her mother pinned her down in the courtyard to shave off the long hair she had painstakingly grown, remembering that warm love letter in the hallway, the teenager's unrestrained and ambiguous teasing, recalling the dim kerosene lamp, the textbooks torn apart by my father's rage, and the relentless taunts of worthless burden, recalling the fiery, sincere gaze of a boy on the basketball court, the meat pushed onto her lunch tray, and the first birthday gift received in 18 years, recalling the vicious slap from her mother, the humiliation and despair of being dragged out of school by her father, and the dignity utterly crushed by her family of origin. And also recalling those past afternoons, Xing Chaoming's embrace so warm it made her cling desperately, Xia Xing's unwavering defense after she was bullied, and that birthday cake prepared specially for her. 2 utterly distinct memories intertwined like blood-stained shards of glass, compelling her to willingly step into darkness time and again, like a moth to flame. 7 times 7, 49 repetitions. Each cycle begins anew with her suicide as the conclusion, until the 49th time. Just like every time before, warm blood still splashed onto her cheek. This scene was all too familiar to her. Every step was identical to the previous 48 times. His presence, his illumination, his shelter, his unwavering determination. He spent all his money to help her sever ties with the past, yet couldn't satisfy her greedy parents, ultimately dying in a pool of blood to protect her on her 18th birthday. She bit her tongue so hard it bled to keep from crying out. He couldn't escape the fate of death, falling before her time and time again, unless the identity constraints are broken, and the story is rewritten. This was something she learned from the barrage of comments. As long as one of the main characters kills the other, proving there's not a shred of affection between them, everyone's fate can be rewritten. Thus, the 49th cycle begins. She chose to sacrifice herself. 16. But she never considered, so this is how much it hurts when a knife pierces the heart. Xing Chaoming actually endured this pain so many times. I trembled as I threw myself forward. My palm couldn't stem the bleeding wound in my chest. warm blood trickling through my fingers, my voice shook violently, tears streaming down uncontrollably. Chia Chiao, Li Chia Chiao. She looked at me, her face covered in blood, yet still reached out to wipe the tears from the corner of my eye. Her blood-stained lips moved ever so slightly, struggling to form a comforting smile. Using almost all her remaining strength, she smiled and told me, Shashya, your brother will definitely come back to life. Death enveloped her like the tide. In a daze, she heard the system notification tone. Protagonist's romantic plotline has collapsed, preparing to reboot and correct the world. The barrage of comments was almost too fast for her to read clearly. Oh my god. I just looked away for a moment. How did the female lead die? Damn, it seems the male lead killed her. So bloody, holy shit. How can they not replace the male lead now? A pop-up prompted me to exit, probably to restart the storyline. Great, she succeeded. The last moment of blurred consciousness, she remembered again that morning with blazing sunlight, that warm pink love letter. Xing Chaoming, you coward, she thought. If there's another chance, she must bravely confess her feelings to him once, on the hillside of my hometown. Buckwheat flowers swayed in the wind across the mountains and fields. Slender yet unyielding stems grow from the barren land. At her expense, all who love her, and those she loves, will no longer be at the mercy of fate, just as she wished on her 18th birthday, good health and a long life. End of main text. Epilogue. Li Chiachia's perspective. Consciousness remained hazy for an unknown length of time. She finally opened her eyes from the darkness, the bright sunshine, the test paper in hand, and the clean school uniform on me. Everything feels like it was just yesterday. The classmate next to her poked her, said someone from the class was looking for her and told her to hurry back. The moment she stepped out of the office, the warm sunlight fell upon her, making her feel like it had been ages. Suddenly, someone rushed over and hugged her tightly. Woo-woo, Chia Chiao, woo-woo, you scared me to death, woo-woo. The rich floral scent made her mind go blank for a moment. Raising his eyes, a young man in a red jersey came into view. He had practically run to meet her, his dark hair fluttering at the forehead, panting heavily, holding a pink love letter in his hand. Before she could even react, every single answer was marked correct without exception. This immediately after, a scorching breath leaned down, his firm chest encircling her in an embrace. The young man's voice was hoarse and deep, throat choked with emotion, his entire body radiating overwhelming longing. Chia Chiao. The barrage of comments on screen was scrolling wildly. OMG, they hugged right away. Those who get it have already started shipping them. A reunion after long separation. Their height difference is so perfect. I'm new here. Just asking, what's this story about? Is it good? According to the synopsis, it's a campus romance with mutual secret crushes, so pleasing to the eyes. What's the female lead's name? Li Chia Chiao. Wow. And the male lead? Another bullet comment scrolls by. Xing Chaoming, Li Chia Chiao, and Xing Chaoming. Her tears fell silently, then she suddenly laughed. This is a brand new story that belongs to her and Xing Chaoming. The end. On the day Pei Ling made it onto the rich list, Su Lai smashed every bowl in the house. He choked my neck fiercely, his face twisted. If it weren't for you back then, Pei Ling's position today should have been mine. You've ruined my entire life. Why don't you just die? In the struggle, we both fell from the building. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in my student days. On the podium, the teacher was about to leave with the list of financially disadvantaged students. A figure quickly stepped forward. Teacher, don't forget me. Seeing this, my eyes narrowed slightly. I'm not the only one who came back. Watching Su Lai run towards the teacher with the application form, I felt somewhat dazed. The sensation of falling from a great height hadn't completely faded yet. Su Lai turned around and glanced at me unintentionally. Meeting his gaze, I instinctively touched my neck. It felt as if invisible hands were still tightly choking my throat, wishing me dead immediately. Noticing my movement, Su Lai's eyes flickered. After class, as soon as I stood up, he silently grabbed my wrist and dragged me out. He didn't let go until the stairway corner. You've come back too, haven't you? Though it was a seemingly random remark, I understood its meaning. It seems my guess was right. He had been reborn too. In a previous life, the school was compiling a list of financially disadvantaged students. Su Lai's father passed away due to work-related reasons, leaving him to rely solely on his mother. Although from a single-parent family, his father left behind a substantial compensation, ensuring they lived comfortably. So, when compiling the list, I advised Su Lai to withdraw, giving the opportunity to those more in need. He agreed. Only Pei Ling was reported. He is a left-behind child. His grandparents are elderly, in poor health, unable to work, and struggling to afford basic necessities, the school granted him financial aid and also arranged a work-study opportunity for him on campus. During his work at Pei Ling, he unexpectedly saved the young lady Tang Wan. Tang Wan was very grateful to him. Upon learning about his family's financial difficulties, she not only paid for his tuition but also covered medical expenses for his family. Pei Ling also proved himself remarkably, maintaining top grades, gaining admission to the most prestigious university, and after graduation, joining Tang Wan's family company where he demonstrated exceptional talent. Within just a few years, he rose to become the company's top executive. Later, he married Tang Wan. Becoming the envy of everyone, every success of Pei Ling was a heavy blow to Su Lai. He always had this phrase on his lips: if I hadn't given him the opportunity back then, would he be where he is today? Now that he's been given a second chance, he can finally change his own destiny. Faced with my silence, he already understood. After giving me a once-over, he sneered coldly, "He Meng, let's not beat around the bush anymore, since heaven has given me this chance to start over. It must be because it deemed my previous fate unjust and specially granted me this opportunity, considering our years of acquaintance. As long as you don't cause trouble for me, I won't forget to reward you when I rise to power, but if you deliberately make things difficult for me." His eyes narrowed slightly, with a menacing glint leaking through the slits, exuding an icy chill. "You know, if I'm suffering, no one else gets to be happy either." The sensation of impending death washed over me again, like a mountain pressing down on my shoulders. Even breathing became difficult. Seeing my pale face, Su Lai knew his threat had taken effect, revealing a satisfied smile. "Enjoy your student days to the fullest. This time, I won't be joining you." He patted my shoulder and walked away. After he left, I gently touched the shoulder he had touched. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Wiped vigorously. 3. When Su Lai and Pei Ling were called to the office, I was helping the teacher record grades. The homeroom teacher looked at the two standing before her and couldn't help but sigh. "Su Lai, your family situation is decent. This scholarship amount isn't much, and it wouldn't make much difference for you. Why not let Pei Ling have it?" "His family, teacher, this isn't appropriate." Before the homeroom teacher could finish speaking, Su Lai interrupted. He glanced at Pei Ling beside him and snorted lightly. "This is a subsidy provided by the school, so it should be fair and just. My family's financial situation is decent, but I still meet the application criteria. Just because he's better at playing the victim than I am, does that mean all the benefits should go to him?" As soon as these words were spoken, the homeroom teacher's face darkened instantly. "What nonsense. Who's playing the victim? I'm just discussing this with you all. There's no room for negotiation here. I'll comply with whatever arrangements the school makes, but it's all right, teacher." Pei Ling, who had been silent all along, suddenly spoke up in a gentle and calm voice. "Su Lai is right. Everything should proceed according to rules and regulations. Since the evaluation results are out, this spot should rightfully be his. Then what about you? The cart will find its way around the hill when it gets there. There are always other solutions." Seeing his composed, polite demeanor without resentment, the homeroom teacher's face showed pity, followed by another sigh, waved his hand, signaling them to go back. After they left, the homeroom teacher was in a gloomy mood and chatted with me to pass the time. "I never thought Su Lai would be so particular before. What's going on this time? What's going on?" Of course it's because this is the hard-won opportunity he got to change his fate. A golden opportunity to get close to the young lady and turn my fortunes around. He wouldn't let go even if beaten to death. 4. Su Lai was assigned to work in the school cafeteria. At first, he was full of enthusiasm. He couldn't keep up the act after just 2 days, constantly complaining about backaches and leg cramps. Anyone unaware would think he'd been hauling cement at a construction site. The cafeteria staff also had many grievances against him, never working, just making empty complaints. Several fed-up colleagues jointly filed a complaint against him. The homeroom teacher was quite frustrated. "Su Lai, it was you who insisted on applying for this financial aid spot for disadvantaged students. You knew it required work-study participation. What exactly have you been doing?" Facing her anger, Su Lai appeared rather dismissive. "I'm already exhausted from studying every day. How could I possibly have energy left for work? In that case, return the financial aid so we can give it to someone who can fulfill the responsibilities." Hearing this, Su Lai immediately panicked and waved his hands repeatedly. No, I didn't say I couldn't do it. Can't I just complain a little?" All right, I'll do it properly. I won't let them complain about me again." "Okay." Seeing his attitude was relatively proper, the homeroom teacher reluctantly agreed. "I wasn't aware of these matters." I was just so absorbed in solving problems that when I went to the cafeteria, there was almost no one left. Just as I sat down to eat, other cafeteria employees also brought their trays and sat not far from me, chatting while they ate. That new kid is really generous. He directly gave each of us a 500 yuan red envelope, just asking us not to complain about him anymore. With so much money, why did you even apply for the poverty-stricken student quota back then? Who knows? Nowadays these so-called poverty-stricken students are full of loopholes. I silently munched on my melon seeds, Su Lai's face appearing before me, making him seem even more detestable. Went through all that trouble to steal someone else's opportunity, yet doesn't know how to cherish it. Utterly shameless. 5. I never expected to see Pei Ling at that small diner near the school, wearing an apron and carrying dishes. He maneuvered through the overcrowded little room. His face was glistening with sweat from the steam, oily and flushed, with hair plastered limply to his scalp, looks extremely busy and flustered, but there's not a trace of impatience on his face, always smiling warmly. Even when encountering classmates, he shows no embarrassment, gracefully helping with orders. Between his brows brims a passion for life. When he saw me, he paused for a moment, then walked up with a smile. What would you like to eat? I'll have the chicken leg noodles. Coming right up, Pei Ling left elegant handwriting on the order slip. Leaning down and lowering his voice, he whispered to me, I'll pick a big chicken drumstick for you later. Hearing this, I couldn't help but burst into laughter, covering my mouth and nodding repeatedly. When the noodles were served, the chicken drumstick was indeed very large. I raised my eyes, and Pei Ling seemed to sense something, turning his head to look at me, then, grinning widely, then threw himself back into work. By the time I finished the noodles, it had grown completely dark outside. After paying, I was about to leave when Pei Ling called out to stop me. Hey Meng, let me walk you home. I was caught off guard. Aren't you still on duty? Pei Ling pointed at the darkening sky outside, his expression serious. It's too late. It's not safe for a girl to go home alone. I froze for a moment, never expecting this to be the reason. I can't help but recall how, back when I was with Su Lai, I often stayed late at school studying alone, yet he never once walked me home or showed concern for my safety, and I never really minded either. Now, Pei Ling's straightforward protectiveness has caught me completely off guard. I was momentarily at a loss. Then your work, it's fine, I took half an hour off. I'll make it in time. Pei Ling smiled sincerely, his eyes clear and transparent. Looking at him, I suddenly remembered Su Lai's past complaint. Who knows if Pei Ling planned it all along? What a coincidence that Tang Wan just happened to be saved by him. At the time, I neither affirmed nor denied it. Looking back now, perhaps it was just that coincidental, because Pei Ling is inherently a very good person. 6. On the way back, the moon was bright and the stars sparse. Watching Pei Ling walking beside me, I couldn't help but ask, aren't you tired working there? Of course I'm tired, to my surprise. Pei Ling answered without any hesitation. Just as I was hesitating about how to comfort him, he winked at me and grinned. But the boss pays well, and at the end of each day, I get to take leftovers home, so my grandparents don't have to work hard preparing dinner, saving both money and effort. Don't you resent Su Lai for taking away your chance to receive the subsidy? To be honest, I did feel upset at first, but without him, I wouldn't have gotten this job. Pei Ling shrugged with a calm expression. In fact, I should thank him. Hearing this, I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. I couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Truly open-minded people face hardships not with complaints, but with upward striving. In contrast, Su Lai was really hard to describe in words. Chatting casually, we unknowingly arrived at the entrance of my residential compound. Pei Ling stopped in his tracks. All right, I'll see you off here. See you tomorrow. Be careful on your way back. See you tomorrow. I quickened my pace, then turned around and waved at him. Only then did he leave with peace of mind. The moment I turned around, someone suddenly appeared right in front of me, startling me into stumbling backward. Clutching my pounding heart, I frowned deeply, my tone far from pleasant. Su Lai, what are you doing in the middle of the night? Don't you know you can scare someone to death like this? 7. Su Lai gazed in the direction Pei Ling had departed. After a long while, he finally withdrew his gaze and fixed it on my face, taking in my unsettled expression with a single glance, curling his lips into a cold smirk. I never knew before that you were so close with that guy. What? Already found your next option. But he Meng, your taste isn't great, picking such a poor guy. What future could he possibly have? Don't tell me you still think he could rise to fame and fortune like in his past life. Stop dreaming. He's just a pretty boy who climbed up using women. Without Tang Wan, he's nothing. I had no intention of getting entangled with him, but hearing his dismissive words about Pei Ling made me involuntarily recall the composed and faintly smiling expression Pei Ling had when he escorted me back earlier. His mind holds deep valleys, and his belly can sail a boat, Chinese idiom meaning broad-mindedness, but I simply can't stand Su Lai's smug look of a petty man gaining success. Oh really, but Pei Ling has excellent grades, works hard and diligently, and most importantly, he's extremely handsome, and your grades are a complete mess, your looks are average. In what way could you possibly compare to him? Even if you seize the opportunities that originally belonged to Pei Ling, can you truly hold on to them? Do you have what it takes? Su Lai, 8, He Meng, under my questioning. Su Lai's expression grew increasingly unpleasant, gloomy as dark water. When looking at me, his eyes surged with anger. I know it all too well. This was exactly how he looked when he choked me by the neck. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. But, what, did I hit a nerve and now you're angry? Su Lai, I was just trying to help you face reality. There's no need to be so upset. Noticing his clenched fists, I remained unshaken, even smiling calmly while looking at him. Su Lai, don't forget, you've worked so hard for this second chance. Don't ruin it with impulsiveness. If you get arrested for assault now, no one can save you. After all, your young mistress doesn't even know you yet. After my reminder, Su Lai's clenched fist gradually relaxed. He took several deep breaths, twitched the corner of his mouth, and forced out what he thought was a friendly smile. No matter what, we once loved each other. Why make things so ugly? Back when I was depressed and struggling, you saw it all. Weren't you heartbroken for me? Now that I have a chance for a better life, you should be happy for me. Even if we're not together anymore, we're still friends. Don't you want me to thrive? As he spoke, his voice actually choked up with emotion. I just found it laughable. Had I not experienced life and death, I might have actually fallen for his act. What a pity, but it's just crocodile tears. Who the hell would believe that? Su Lai sobbed for a while, but seeing that I remained completely unresponsive, he found it hard to keep up his solo act. Clearing his throat to mask the awkwardness, he looked at me and regained his original arrogance. He Meng, let's keep to our own paths without interfering with each other. Stop causing trouble for me, and I won't meddle in your affairs with Pei Ling. How about that? There's nothing between me and Pei Ling. But let me give you some advice. Don't foolishly give your all just because he's good looking. When you regret it later and come crawling back to me, I won't take second-hand goods. With that, Su Lai snorted coldly and strode away arrogantly. I stood there, trembling with anger. 9. The monthly exam results are out. Pei Ling unquestionably took first place. After this period of diligent effort, my grades have improved significantly, now ranking within the top 100. As for Su Lai, his grades were already a complete mess. Since his return, he's shown even less interest in studying, with his performance plummeting like a falling elevator. Whenever the homeroom teacher mentions him, the worry adds several new wrinkles to their face. After class, they'd call him to the office, patiently trying to persuade him with earnest advice. However, the results were minimal at best. It happened that I came to ask the subject teacher some questions, and when the homeroom teacher saw me, her eyes lit up. He Meng, come here for a moment. I walked over, and the homeroom teacher pointed at me while saying to Su Lai, you and He Meng have practically grown up together. Look at how much she's improved this time, and then look at yourself. What have you become? If you keep going like this, you won't even make it into a vocational college. Can't you take He Meng as a role model and learn from her properly? Then she looked at me again and sighed. He Meng, we're all classmates and should help each other. When you have free time, try to assist Su Lai more and help improve his grades quickly. I remained silent. Su Lai scoffed disdainfully. Teacher, don't bother with my affairs. I know what I'm doing. To be frank, even if I don't study at all, my future will still be 1,000, no, 10,000 times better than hers. The homeroom teacher was stunned by his confidence and left speechless. I stood aside, fully aware in my heart. Su Lai was determined to climb the social ladder by attaching himself to Tang Wan, seeking shortcuts. How could he possibly be willing to endure hardship? His mind was now consumed by a single thought, meeting Tang Wan. So I coldly stated, Teacher, everyone has their own destiny. It cannot be forced. After speaking, he turned and left. Su Lai followed closely behind and stopped me at the corner. It seems you've taken my previous words to heart. I didn't understand his inexplicable words, nor did I want to. Looking at him expressionlessly, do you need something? Nothing, just keep going. Whatever you do, don't disturb me. It's almost done. Su Lai rubbed his hands together. his face full of excitement. I'm about to strike it rich and become one of the elite soon. I couldn't be bothered with his antics, rolled my eyes, and walked straight past him, yet silently calculating the time in my heart. Indeed, that day is almost here, the moment that changes fate. 10. When going to the cafeteria to get food, I spotted Su Lai at first glance. All the other employees had work to do, only he was idle by the side, leaning against the wall playing with his phone. How carefree. I glanced at the camera in the corner, somewhat curious. I wonder how much longer he can keep up this lazy, unproductive routine. Just as I was thinking, someone suddenly said, "The boss is here for inspection." Su Lai, who had been playing with his phone moments ago, dashed to the side of the vegetable preparing employee, pushed him aside, and started peeling potatoes with a peeler, putting on a show. Who knew he had two faces? I clicked my tongue in secret, then turned away with my tray. After eating, I returned to the classroom to read. After a while, the sudden sound of an ambulance broke the school's original tranquility. It drew a crowd of onlookers. Soon, we learned what had happened. Many people vomited repeatedly after eating in the cafeteria, suspected to be food poisoning, and were urgently sent to the hospital. Upon hearing this, I was startled and immediately touched my forehead, then rubbed my stomach. Fortunately, there were no unusual sensations. I could only silently pray that no one would get hurt. The cause of the accident was quickly determined. It's almost laughable, but it happened because they ate sprouted potatoes. These were the very same potatoes that Su Lai had handled while pretending to work, being clueless about crops. He didn't know sprouted potatoes were toxic. He just casually peeled them, chopped them up, and tossed them into the pot to stew. As a result, everyone who ate them fell ill. Upon learning of this incident, the school administration and cafeteria contractor took it very seriously and immediately reviewed the surveillance footage. This review not only identified the culprit but also exposed Su Lai's long-standing pattern of perfunctory work. The school authorities were furious and immediately revoked his status as a financially disadvantaged student, while also prohibiting him from continuing his work in the cafeteria. He was also given a disciplinary warning. In front of the leader, Su Lai tearfully admitted his mistake. "I know I was wrong. I don't ask for forgiveness. I just hope you'll let me stay here one more day, just one day, please." Seeing his pitiful pleading, everyone's hearts softened, and the leader ultimately granted his request. When the matter reached the classmates' ears, they were also abuzz with discussion. Do you think Su Lai has something wrong with his head? If he couldn't bear to part with this job, why didn't he cherish it properly? Now that something's happened, he knows regret. Where was this earlier? They couldn't understand and even came to ask me about it. I could only smile to show I didn't know. Actually, I knew, and I had already made a decision. 11. After school, as usual, I studied in the library until very late, then went to a small restaurant and ate an extra-large chicken leg noodle. This has almost become my daily routine lately. I've gradually become familiar with Pei Ling as well. When the shop isn't busy, he can leave work early. On the way back, I'd ask him some difficult questions, and he would answer everything clearly and thoroughly. Never showed the slightest hint of annoyance. When the shop gets busy, I also help out with odd jobs. I always feel a sense of guilt towards him. If we hadn't returned, it wouldn't have changed his fate, and he wouldn't have had to suffer these hardships. That day, he wanted to see me home again. For the first time, I refused him. "I have something else to do later. I won't be going home yet." Pei Ling looked concerned. "It's so late. What could be so urgent? Maybe I can help. This is something others shouldn't get involved in." Hearing this, Pei Ling understood and nodded. "Then be careful. Remember to send me a message when you get home." "Okay." After saying goodbye, I left the shop with my backpack, but I didn't go too far, lingering around the school area. Finally, under the moonlight, I saw the long-awaited figure. It's Tang Wan. Her father bought her an apartment near the school for her convenience. Today was her friend's birthday, and they stayed out very late celebrating. Tang Wan walked home step by step under the moonlight. I followed at a distance, careful not to reveal my presence. Only when I saw her enter the building and shortly after, the light in a certain room turned on, did my anxious heart finally settle. Since the thing I feared didn't happen, I felt at ease. Turning around and seeing Su Lai appear, I was no longer surprised by it. Not wanting to engage with him, I took out my phone and was about to send a message when he suddenly grabbed my wrist. "Was it you, He Meng? I warned you not to cause trouble. Are you ignoring my words? Or do you really think I won't lay a hand on you?" 12. I raised my eyes to meet his gaze, which was filled with fury. A moment later, I suddenly laughed. Seeing me actually laugh, Su Lai was somewhat stunned, and his grip on my hand loosened slightly. Seizing the opportunity, I withdrew my hand and resumed my previous cold expression. I didn't do anything. Su Lai refused to believe it. Impossible. If it weren't for you, how could Tangwan be safe and sound today? In the previous life, she should have been harassed by drunk migrant workers at this time, but they didn't show up. You find it strange, don't you? Guess where they had their meal today? Looking at Su Lai's bewildered expression, I couldn't help but laugh again, because they had food poisoning and were sent to the hospital. They still haven't come out yet. Have you forgotten, Su Lai? In the previous life, the school expanded its playground. After completion, the school leaders invited all the workers to eat in the cafeteria. 2 migrant workers got drunk, encountered Tangwan returning late, and had ill intentions, attempting to take advantage of her. Fortunately, Pei Ling, who was also leaving late, came across them, thus preventing a tragedy. And now, the potential troublemaker is still in the hospital on N4 drip. Where would they get the energy to commit a crime? Su Lai waited 2 lifetimes for a chance to play the hero and save the beauty, only to ruin it himself. Watching Su Lai's face turn increasingly green, I couldn't help but laugh even more joyfully. Su Lai's expression shifted repeatedly, his face contorted with anger, teeth clenched in fury. Suddenly, with a frosty expression, he forced words through gritted teeth. Impossible. If that were truly the case, why would you be here? I'm here because I don't believe in so-called coincidences. Even knowing those 2 were poisoned, to be absolutely certain, I had to see Tangwan's safety with my own eyes before I could rest easy. Nothing happened, and with my limited means, I could only protect her safety in my own way, seeking a sliver of peace of mind. And these are things Su Lai would never understand, because he only cares about himself. If you don't believe me, you're welcome to keep waiting here. You might just get another chance. With that, I turned and walked away. After just 2 steps, Su Lai's sinister, icy voice came from behind. I won't give up. He Meng, don't you dare try to stop me, or neither of us will have an easy time. Threatening me again, I treated it as nothing more than hot air, ignoring him completely, though my footsteps quickened. Stay away from idiots, or you'll end up miserable. 13. I thought I had perfectly avoided the accident from my previous life, but unexpectedly, a few days later, rumors spread in school that Tangwan encountered harassment from hoodlums while returning late, and Su Lai happened to pass by, offering help to drive them away. Tangwan was deeply grateful to him and learned that he was out so late because he was working part-time to ease his mother's burden. Feeling heartbroken, she proactively helped Su Lai's mother secure a relaxed yet well-paying job, and even gave Su Lai a sum of money as gratitude. Su Lai gladly accepted. Upon learning of this, I couldn't help but feel suspicious. What a coincidence that some troublemakers harassed Tangwan, and Su Lai just happened to be there. Could it be? Just as I was utterly perplexed, Su Lai swaggered up to me with a triumphant air, clearly showing off. You've all heard, right? Tangwan and I have already gotten acquainted smoothly, and now she has a very favorable impression of me. I believe it won't be long before she becomes my girlfriend, and then, not just her, but her family's company. Everything will be mine. From this moment on, my life is truly going to change. He Meng, if you apologize to me now, I might reluctantly forgive you, although I can't give you any official status. Keeping you as my mistress and ensuring you live in luxury wouldn't be difficult for me. After speaking, he wore a smug smile, looking down at me condescendingly as if bestowing a favor, waiting for my response. I, speechless, after a long silence, I couldn't hold back and asked seriously, is your family so poor now that you can't even afford a mirror? What do you mean? Take a piss and take a good look at yourself. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. You should see if you're even worthy. Rolling my eyes, I curled my lips in disdain, like a toad crawling on your foot. It doesn't bite, but it sure disgusts you. You. Su Lai was furious, his finger trembling at me as if he had Parkinson's. After grinding my teeth for a long time, I finally squeezed out a sentence. Just wait and see. The day will come when you'll beg me. Ah, yes, yes, yes. I nodded perfunctorily without even looking at him, took the exercise book to find Pei Ling. Don't waste time arguing with idiots. You'd be better off discussing studies with top students. Though eyes burned into my back like thorns, I remained utterly unfazed. 14. Su Lai grew increasingly resentful as I repeatedly undermined his dignity. Seeing me grow closer to Pei Ling only deepened his sense of humiliation. So during PE class, when playing basketball against another class, Su Lai deliberately targeted Pei Ling, throwing the ball straight at his face. Fortunately, Pei Ling was quick to react and dodged it every time. Seeing this made Su Lai even angrier, and he actually charged straight at him. There were other students beside Pei Ling, and to avoid accidentally hurting them, he had no choice but to take the hit and was knocked to the ground. Everyone immediately gathered around to ask about his condition. Before Pei Ling could speak, they heard Su Lai exclaim, "My shoe," drawn by his voice. Everyone turned to look. There on Su Lai's pristine white shoe was a large, glaring footprint. Su Lai glared furiously, pointing at his shoe while staring daggers at Pei Ling. "Do you know how expensive these shoes are? Over 2,000. That's enough to buy your worthless life. Pay up, or lick them clean." The moment these words were spoken, the crowd collectively showed expressions of shock. Someone couldn't help but speak up for Pei Ling. "Su Lai, that's too harsh. You were clearly the one who bumped into Pei Ling just now. The shoe getting stepped on wasn't intentional. If we're talking compensation, you should be compensating Pei Ling first. He's actually injured." Glancing at the scrapes on Pei Ling's arms and knees, Su Lai dismissed them with contempt. "If you don't have the skills, don't come play. Wouldn't it be better to just stick to washing dishes? Who are you trying to fool with this pitiful act? I'm not buying it." They kept shouting, demanding Pei Ling to pay compensation. A group of people gathered together, arguing fiercely, witnessing everything. I quietly walked over to Tang Wan, who was standing nearby, casually bringing it up. "That's odd. Isn't Su Lai a financially struggling student? How can he afford sports shoes costing over 2,000 yuan? Tang Wan frowned slightly and looked at me. I smiled at her with an air of innocence, mixed with a hint of awkwardness. "Sorry. There's been some conflict among classmates. Please excuse the scene." Then shifting the topic. "But Su Lai is really something. He went through great lengths to obtain financial aid for impoverished students, yet refused to work diligently. After complaints nearly got him in trouble, he carelessly almost caused a life-threatening incident. I heard he took on another part-time job outside, but quit after just a few days. All this back and forth, what exactly does he want? Is he trying to experience life?" With a troubled expression, I turned and walked away. As I turned, the melancholy on my face vanished completely. Glancing sideways at Su Lai, who had already been pulled aside, I smiled faintly. "Su Lai, this is the gift I prepared for you. You must accept it with a smile." 15. The conflict on the court was finally resolved with the teacher's intervention, as both sides apologized to each other, putting the matter to rest. When I went to buy medicine for Pei Ling, I unexpectedly ran into Su Lai. He glanced at the alcohol and band-aids in my hand and sneered, "Going to such lengths for that poor boy, huh? What, do you still think he'll rise to prominence like in his past life? Stop dreaming. This time, I'm the one who'll win." "Is that so? If you're so confident, why do you keep targeting Pei Ling everywhere?" Stunned by my question, Su Lai faltered, stammering without giving a proper answer. "Because you're insecure. You act all proud on the surface, but deep down you're utterly hollow. You know you snatched an opportunity that rightfully belonged to Pei Ling, and you're terrified he might take it back one day. You're also painfully aware he's far more talented than you, which is why you constantly target him, bully him, and desperately try to ruin him. Only by seeing him completely crushed with no chance of recovery can you rest easy. Honestly, you're quite pathetic. Even something you're so sure of can't give you peace of mind. How dare you flaunt it in front of me? At the end of the day, you're just a petty thief, stealing someone else's chance, climbing to a position that isn't yours, yet lying awake at night, consumed by paranoia." "Su Lai, do you believe that even without prior opportunities, Pei Ling's abilities would still make him stand out? Because he deserves it. As for you, with your high ambitions but low skills, the higher you fly, the harder you'll fall." I spared no sarcasm in mocking him. "Some people just can't be reasoned with. Why waste your breath?" Su Lai flushed red with anger at my taunts, even considered resorting to violence at one point. "Huh." I tilted my chin, gesturing toward the surveillance cameras around us. "Got burned by these cameras once before. Still haven't learned your lesson. Lay a finger on me, and I'll make sure you're sued into bankruptcy. Everyone gets a second chance. Why should I have to put up with him?" Su Lai indeed hesitated to act rashly, fearing the consequences. After holding back for so long, all he could muster was, "Since you think so highly of him, just wait and see. I'll crush him under my feet, leaving him no chance to recover. By then, even if you come begging in tears, it'll be useless." "Oh, really? Well, I'll be waiting to see that." I responded perfunctorily and hurried back with the medicine. I need to hurry up, or Pei Ling's wound will have healed by the time I get back. 16. Su Lai has been feeling somewhat confused lately. Originally, according to his expectations, after saving Tang Wan, she should have viewed him differently. As they spent time together, feelings would gradually develop. Tang Wan would secretly harbor affection for him, and then he would confess, leading them to naturally get together. but ever since he saved Tang Wan. Although she helped his mother arrange a new job and gave him a sum of money, then, there was no follow-up. Tang Wan didn't give him any special treatment, nor did she show him excessive concern. Even when Su Lai took the initiative to visit her, he was almost always politely declined for various reasons. Su Lai couldn't figure out where exactly things had gone wrong. In the previous life, it was almost Tang Wan who actively sought out Pei Ling's company, so why, now that it's his turn, has the situation completely reversed? Not just her. But other classmates were also becoming increasingly distant towards him, no one to team up with, no one to chat with, not even someone willing to lend homework to copy. After several interactions, Su Lai also began to sense something was off. He spent his own money to buy snacks, hoping to improve relations with classmates. It wasn't to maintain classmate bonds, but rather out of fear that Tang Wan might see and misunderstand something. Unfortunately, his goodwill went unappreciated. The more blunt one spoke without reservation. I wouldn't dare eat your food. What if it turns out to be some imported snack? I couldn't afford to pay you back. Su Lai immediately recalled the basketball court incident. Facing the crowd's ambiguous gazes, he grew both furious and humiliated. In the end, he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I witnessed the whole thing but remained non-committal. He brought this upon himself. He deserved it. But I never expected Su Lai would come looking for me. 17. He Meng, please help me. You're the only one who can help me now. Looking at Su Lai's panicked expression, I felt somewhat surprised. Is being isolated by classmates really such a big deal? Soon I would realize how naive I had been. Are you saying that when Tang Wan was harassed by those punks, it was actually a staged act you arranged? Watching Su Lai nod guiltily, I could only look up at the sky speechlessly. He's really pushing his luck with the law. Although I had such suspicions before, I quickly dismissed them. After all, he had been warned long ago, so logically he shouldn't be foolish enough to knowingly break the law. However, there are indeed suspicious aspects to this matter, which is why I subtly reminded Tang Wan, I had no other choice. Without this method, how could I establish contact with Tang Wan? Besides, I know my limits. Those two small-time thugs didn't go too far, they just scared her a bit. She didn't suffer any real harm, so why insist on making such a big deal out of it? She even sent someone to investigate, and they actually uncovered the truth. Now she's coming after me. If this gets pinned on me, my life is over. He Meng, you must help me. I swear I won't let you down. I'm a bit curious. How do you want me to help you? Could it be that you want me to provide an alibi? As it turned out, I was too naive and underestimated the depths of his shamelessness. He said, go tell Tang Wan that you were the one who found those people, because you had a crush on me. But my heart belongs to Tang Wan. Your love turned to hatred, and you sought revenge by having her bullied. The reason I showed up in time was because I knew what you were up to, but out of respect for our years of friendship, I didn't want to ruin your future. So I kept silent. This way, not only will I clear my name, but I'll also gain a reputation for being loyal and righteous. Tang Wan is so kind-hearted, she'll definitely see me in a new light, and everything will fall into place naturally. Su Lai grew more and more excited as he spoke, flecks of foam forming at the corners of his mouth. He gripped my shoulders with both hands, his eyes burning with fervor. Don't worry, if you help me, I won't let you down. I'll let bygones be bygones. And when I rise to success, you'll get your share of the rewards. But if I take the blame for you, I might get expelled and miss the college entrance exam. I frowned, looking troubled. Su Lai dismissed it casually. So what? Even if you get into college and join the workforce, you'd just be slaving away for a measly 3,000 or 4,000 a month. What's the point? You're better off sticking with me. When the time comes, if I get a piece of Tang Wan, you'll get your share of the broth. I hesitated. Really? Of course it's true. Su Lai's hand tightened with increasing force, almost crushing my bones. His expression was wildly out of control. After hesitating for a moment, I reluctantly nodded. All right. Seeing my agreement, Su Lai was overjoyed and couldn't wait another second, immediately bringing me before Tang Wan. Tang Wan, I told you I'd explain everything to you. Su Lai gazed at Tang Wan with deep affection, wearing an expression that, though misunderstood, still couldn't bear to blame her. I brought someone who will clarify everything. Facing Tang Wan, I took a deep breath and then pulled out the phone hidden in my pocket and played a recording. 18. When Su Lai heard his own voice coming from the phone, his composed expression completely shattered. He rushed forward trying to snatch my phone, but was immediately pinned to the ground by Tang Wan's companions, unable to move. After the recording finished playing, I said, this recording was secretly made by me and can't serve as evidence, But it's enough to make you understand the whole truth. Tangwan nodded. I understand. Thank you for this. If you need any help, just ask, don't hesitate. I have no other requests. Pointing at Su Lai, who was pinned to the ground, I smiled brightly. Just don't let him off easily. In my previous life, he caused my death, and even after getting a second chance, he kept threatening and intimidating me. Did he really think I was an easy target? Su Lai, who had initially given up resisting, began struggling frantically again upon hearing these words. Unfortunately, he was a weakling, and despite exerting all his strength, he couldn't break free. He could only watch helplessly as his true fate arrived. 19. Su Lai was fired. The evidence was irrefutable, leaving no room for excuses. Out of consideration for Tangwan's reputation and the school's image, the reason for the expulsion was not made public. However, everyone was smart enough to roughly guess some of the reasons. His departure was merely an insignificant episode in their youthful years, and after being discussed for 2 or 3 days, it gradually faded into silence. After some more time, almost everyone forgot that such a person had existed. Without Su Lai, I finally felt a sense of relief, no longer constantly choked by the specter of past death. Pei Ling regained the title of impoverished student, enjoying the subsidies and assistance provided by the school, with grades as steady as Mount Tai. As for me, with his help, my grades also progressed steadily. During the college entrance exam, I performed exceptionally well, achieving unexpectedly outstanding results. It was a world of difference compared to my previous life. After entering university, I balanced my academic studies while never forgetting to make money. Pei Ling was the top scorer in the college entrance exam and chose to major in finance. Without hesitation, I freely absorbed his knowledge and experience, combining it with memories from my past life to tentatively venture into investments and stock trading, achieving excellent returns. By the time I graduated, I had already become a young woman of considerable wealth. As for Pei Ling, due to his outstanding academic performance, he secured an internship at the Tang Corporation during his sophomore year. That's right, the very same Tang Corporation owned by Tangwan. After graduation, directly became part of the management. There, he met, got to know, and fell in love with Tangwan. When I received their wedding invitation, I couldn't help but feel emotional. Some people, even if they once drifted apart, will eventually find their way back to each other. Such was the case with Pei Ling and Tangwan. Su Lai had always believed it was that act of heroism saving the beauty that gave Pei Ling the opportunity. Little did he know, what Pei Ling relied on was always his own capability. Opportunities were chances for him, but never the decisive factor. Sadly, Su Lai would never understand. 20. The next time I saw Su Lai was at Pei Ling and Tangwan's wedding ceremony. Hand in hand, they walked step by step toward happiness. I went out for some fresh air and spotted someone crouching in the corner. Our eyes met, and he called out my name with a trembling voice. He Meng. I was shocked to discover that this disheveled homeless man before me was actually Su Lai. After not seeing him for years, I almost didn't recognize him. But it's no wonder, after being expelled, Su Lai's mother wanted him to continue studying at a school in another city. After all, the reason for his expulsion wasn't made public, so the impact on him wasn't particularly severe. However, Su Lai stubbornly refused, insisting that studying was utterly useless and merely a waste of time. He believed he could make a fortune on his own even without going to college. After some arguments, he quietly took the family's savings and, relying on memories from his past life, also ventured into investments. Yet, having no research or preparation in this field and understanding nothing about it, he quickly lost everything. Upon learning of this, Su Lai's mother was so furious that she collapsed on the spot, and her leisurely job was gone too. Their once comfortable life suddenly became financially strained. Su Lai still refused to admit his mistakes, remaining determined to take shortcuts to make big money. With no capital, he turned to gambling. At the beginning, he did win some money and felt hopeful, so he recklessly threw all his money in. As expected, he lost everything. The gambler was in over his head with no way out. Su Lai believed he could recover his losses and get it all back, so he directly mortgaged his house. However, the outcome remained unchanged. Having lost his capital, his house, and even accumulated a mountain of debt, Su Lai became a social outcast, hiding during the day and only daring to come out in the dead of night. Sometimes when debt collectors caught him, he couldn't avoid a brutal beating. He even had several fingers cut off and his leg broken for failing to repay the money. Physical disabilities and life's misfortunes tormented Su Lai relentlessly. His mind began to show signs of disturbance, becoming increasingly eccentric, telling everyone he met that he could foresee the future, yet unbeknownst to him, from the moment he snatched Pei Ling's poverty-stricken student quota in this renewed life, everything had already changed. The butterfly effect quietly permeated his entire existence. 21. When he saw me, a glimmer of clarity emerged from Su Lai's muddled eyes. He struggled to get up and walked towards me, although from a single-parent family, his father left behind a substantial pension, enough for them to live comfortably. Cheers and applause echoed from the hall, catching his attention. Tang Wan ultimately married Pei Ling, didn't she? Yes. Receiving an affirmative answer, Su Lai laughed at himself mockingly. As he laughed, tears inadvertently slipped down. So, what's the point of letting me start over, going in circles? The outcome remains the same. Are you playing with me? Heavens, watching his grief-stricken, nearly frenzied appearance, I smiled faintly. The meaning of getting a second chance might be to keep me away from you, otherwise, I wouldn't be living as well as I am now. Hearing this, Su Lai suddenly looked at me. His eyes filled with excitement, he moved cautiously step by step. Speaking humbly, He Meng, I was wrong before, I shouldn't have treated you like that, but think about it, without me, you wouldn't have gotten this second chance to live such a good life now. For the sake of our past relationship, please help me, okay? As he spoke, he suddenly lunged at me, and then, the bodyguard standing nearby kicked him 3 meters away, leaving him sprawled on the ground, unable to get up. I chuckled softly. I'm not a fool, how could I not be on guard against you? Trying to pull the same trick again, too bad you lack the brains for it. Then I instructed the bodyguard, take him to the mental hospital. Later, tell your boss Ms. Tang, she'll understand what's going on. Yes. Su Lai was dragged away like a bag of trash. A bridesmaid came running out to find me. Meng, it's time to toss the bouquet. Come quick. Coming. I lifted my dress and hurried back. The sunlight pours from behind, scattering golden hues across the ground. The end. Story 2. Lu Jingnian actually loved my elder sister. Marrying me was just his second choice, because I have a face that closely resembles my sister's. Later, my sister and I were in a car accident together, and he chose to save my sister first. When I was on the verge of death, it was Yan Fei, my sworn enemy, who accompanied me. After being reborn, I firmly decided to break off the engagement. I returned to the alley in my memory. The familiar young man smiled and teased me. Miss you. Why have you honored us with your presence today? Do you want to eat wontons again? No, I came to find you, Yan Fei. I was reborn the day after Lu Jingnian came to propose marriage. Nan, your brother Jingnian came to propose marriage yesterday. You happen to like him, and if you agree, your father and I will give him an answer. My parents were discussing my sister's marriage to brother Jiang, and the topic suddenly shifted to me. What? I was still immersed in the grief of my death in the previous life and was stunned for a long time. Look, our little girl here is so happy that she's gone silly. My sister was also happy for me and took my arm. Jingnian told me that as long as you're willing to marry him, he'll marry you right away. Your love for him has finally come to fruition. Nan, are you happy? Really? I forced a smile. Lu Jingnian's feelings for my sister were well hidden. So much so that he never revealed them in front of her, and no one around us ever noticed. Even I thought that he was nice to me, caring and considerate because he liked me. I never imagined that I was benefiting from my sister and I looked 8 points alike, and he completely regarded me as a substitute for my sister. In the previous life, as soon as my sister's marriage was settled, Lu Jingnian came to propose to me. I was so excited that I couldn't sleep and was looking forward to getting married happily, until on the wedding night, the drunk Lu Jingnian held me in his arms, looked at my face affectionately, and then called out my sister's name. Every word was sincere and earnest. He said that the person he loved was Yu Xian, not me. He said that since he couldn't be with Yu Xian, he would marry her younger sister and continue to be her family and protect her. At that moment, I suddenly realized. Lu Jingnian didn't love me at all. He couldn't have my sister, and he married me because of my similar face to hers. I don't want to marry him. The previously lively atmosphere suddenly froze, and everyone turned their eyes to me. My mother took my hand, looking very puzzled. Nan, why? My eyes were determined. I glanced at my confused sister and then at my expectant parents, and said, I have someone I like. His name is Yan Fei. I will only marry him and will never marry Lu Jingnian. I let go of my mother's hand and ran out of the house. I came to an alley. It was exactly the same as in my memory. The wonton shop one more bowl at the corner was still there. The camphor tree in front of the door remained as it was. I carefully peeked into the shop. Mom, I told you to prepare 2 servings of seasonings. Not everyone likes coriander, you brat. Have you grown bold because you've made some money? You're lecturing me now. You're in your 20s and haven't brought home a daughter-in-law yet. Get out of the way, Mom. Your son is single and rich, and there are plenty of girls who like me. You don't need to worry about it. You're bragging without even thinking. That little girl who came to eat wontons in high school was so nice. It's all because of your arrogance that you drove her away. If it weren't for your mother, I wouldn't bother with you. I'm going to restock. You take good care of the shop. Got it. Be careful on the way. Mother Yen rode a tricycle to restock, and Yen Fai's casual voice echoed for a long time, when I was overwhelmed by fear and despair, and when I was pinned down by the broken car body. It was this voice that woke me up from the brink of death. Yu Yen, if you die, I'll tell the whole world about the time you secretly sneaked into the boys' bathhouse to watch me take a shower. The king of hell will think you're lecherous and won't let you be reincarnated. You're talking nonsense. That was an accident. Then I'll tell everyone about the time you secretly spilled ink on me when we were at school and ruin your reputation. Yen Fai, why are you so petty? I'm just a petty person. Yu Yen, I'm telling you, hold on. The ambulance will be here soon. The tone and intonation hadn't changed at all. I stood under the tree at the door, so engrossed in listening that I didn't even know when he noticed me. Yu Yen, it really is you. Yen Fai stood at the door, looking at me with a leisurely expression. Miss you. Why do you have the time to come to my small shop today? I'm hungry. Is that not allowed? Sure. Miss you. Please come in. He was as annoying as ever, using the words miss you to tease me. I almost forgot that Yen Fai was still the same Yen Fai from before, and he hadn't been reborn. Are you really here to eat wontons? There are much more delicious delicacies outside than what I have here. Have you changed your taste? Why are you talking so much? I want to eat the most expensive shrimp wontons in golden soup. Hurry up and make them for me. A young lady can't wait. Still 3 bowls. 3 bowls was a shared secret between him and me. The first time I ate the wontons he made was in the 2nd year of high school. I had a fight with my family. Was in a bad mood and skipped class. Then it rained heavily, and I got soaked to the bone. It was Yen Fai who found me and took me in at his family's wonton shop. My stomach was growling, and while he was teasing me, he made me hot wontons to eat despite his words. I ate 3 bowls in one go. He clearly wanted to expose my past. I snorted. 1 bowl. Fine, miss you. Just wait. Yen Fai is a nice guy in every way, except that he has a sharp tongue and can be really annoying. When I first developed feelings, we were in the same class and were desk mates for 3 years, because he could cook, was good at sports, and was good at handling interpersonal relationships. My admiration for him turned into love, and I even had the courage to write him a love letter. However, my attempt at confessing love ended halfway. Just after I finished writing the letter, I heard his conversation with his friends. Brother Yi, your deskmate Yu Yen not only has good grades but also looks good. After being deskmates with her for so long, don't you like her? Do you really not like her? I heard from Yu Yan's friends that she has a crush on you. Why are you guys so nosy? I don't like a girl like Yu Yen. She's too thin and weak. She'll fall over at the slightest breeze. She's also lachrymose and delicate and can't be easily coaxed. I like bright and beautiful girls with a good figure. I rushed in and scolded him for being shallow, lecherous, and having no taste. Then, in a fit of anger, I crumpled up the love letter and threw it into the trash can in front of him. Who likes you? I don't want to like you at all. We had a falling out. To be precise, I unilaterally broke off our relationship. After that, he shone brightly at the sports meeting, had excellent grades, and more girls in the school liked him, most of whom were the type he said he liked. I stopped paying attention to him, didn't talk to him, and our relationship became more and more strained. He gradually became my sworn enemy, and we would always have sharp arguments whenever we met, until I met Lu Jingyan. I was attracted by his mature demeanor and slowly forgot about Yen Fai. My heart then revolved around Lu Jingyan, while Yen Fai was studying. He also started his own business and gradually faded out of my world. In the previous life, after Lu Jingyan proposed marriage, there was a high school alumni gathering. Yen Fai had matured and become quieter. I almost didn't recognize him. Rarely, we sat down and had a calm conversation. I heard you're getting married. Yes. Does he treat you well? Yes. I wish you happiness. Thank you. Later, I found out that he got dead drunk in the private room that night and cried all night long. It was only then that I learned that he had been single all these years and had a clean romantic history. I was deceived by him again. On the day of the wedding, I received a congratulatory gift from him, a National Universal Free Food Card. It could be used in all his food chain stores, with no time limit, no price limit, and no limit on the number of people. He not only fulfilled a casual joke from high school but also took it seriously. After getting married, I only met him a few times at events, and by then, his business had reached new heights. He became the well-known young Master Yen. And his career was booming. At that time, I only had Lu Jingyan in my eyes and didn't notice that every time he looked at me, there was always a hint of sadness in his eyes. Miss you? Are you starving? You're almost staring a hole through my table. Yan Fai waved his hand in front of me and brought up a bowl of hot wontons. The wontons were filled with plump fillings, and the delicious soup had seaweed floating in it, along with shreds of egg rolls. Don't worry. I only put a little vinegar in it. There's no coriander, and I didn't put any scallions either. I was surprised. How did you know I don't eat those? After being married to Lu Jingyan for 2 years, he had never paid attention to such details. I stared at him as if I wanted to tear off his mask of pretense and expose his most sincere heart. Yan Fai, who was always sharp-tongued, suddenly didn't know what to say and stammered. Well, after being classmates for several years. Everyone knows about your picky eating habits. It's not a secret, but you've remembered my dietary restrictions until now. Do you remember everyone so clearly? I looked at him steadily, with a certainty in my words that I had never had before. At first, Yan Fai was calm and composed, but after being stared at by me for over a minute, he gradually felt guilty and unconsciously touched his nose. No. Among the people around me, you're the only one who's against coriander, naturally. I have a deep impression of it. Ha ha ha. Just eat quickly, it won't be fragrant when it gets cold. He rubbed the back of his head and tried to dodge the topic, but he didn't dare to look at me. I tasted the wontons he made one bite at a time, and the taste was the same as in my memory. Yan Fai stared at the empty bowl in disbelief. Miss you, an ordinary person really can't afford to feed your appetite. You're not an ordinary person, though. Why am I not? At that time, I was too busy eating to pay attention to his answer, and I didn't notice the self-deprecation in his words. The pain of the car fragments piercing into my lungs made my consciousness fade. The voice I heard wasn't Lu Jingyan's but that of my sworn enemy. Yan Fai, are you blind? Can't you see there's still someone under the car? You're lying, he clearly treats you badly. Only you're so silly that you're completely devoted to him. Yu Yan, I really regret it. I regret pushing you away. I'm worthy of you now, but I'm about to lose you forever. Yu Yan, wake up, this joke isn't funny. Get up and scold me again. I like it when you argue with me. Don't be so quiet. Okay, Yu Yan, hold on, I'll carry you to the hospital. Thinking of his confessions and regrets before I died, my nose twitched, and tears fell into the soup. After I died, my soul lingered beside him for a long time. On the day I was buried in the cemetery, Lu Jingyan stood in the family member's position, and he cried bitterly. He looked like he had lost his beloved, but I knew the truth. If Lu Jingyan had been a little more attentive to me, it wouldn't have ended like this. Lu Jingyan was like a mirror, reflecting through my face how failed and ironic this marriage of mine was, and Yan Fai, who had witnessed my death with his own eyes, could only stand silently in the distance because he didn't have an appropriate identity. After the ceremony ended and my family had all left, he came to my grave holding a bouquet of white hyacinths. Miss you, I've come to see you. White hyacinths symbolize unspoken love. I sat beside him and counted the small flowers one by one. There were exactly 520 of them. I don't know why, but when I heard him call me Miss you again, I always felt like crying. No one else would call me that anymore. My eyes were filled with tears, and Yan Fai's warm tears fell on my palm. Don't be afraid, I won't tell all your embarrassing things. Those are secrets that only I know. How could I bear to let others know? You must be happy in the other world. Show your air of a young lady, scold when you need to, and be unrestrained when you need to. Never chagrin yourself. Yu Yan, I shouldn't have been so cowardly. I should have hugged you tightly and confessed my love to you when I knew you liked me. And let the whole world know that I liked you. Would our ending have been different then? There were dark circles under his eyes, his face was haggard, and his eyes were full of bloodshot. Is it true? You liked me too. I felt so that I wanted to touch him, but my hand passed through his body. The sky was crying, and it started to rain heavily. I told him to go back quickly, but he didn't move. I forgot that we were separated by life and death, and he couldn't hear me. In the cemetery shrouded in sadness, only the white hyacinth swayed poignantly in the rain. Yan Fai didn't dislike me. On the contrary, he loved me deeply, but his family background was ordinary. His father died early, and they owed a lot of debt. It was his mother who ran the wonton shop alone to raise him. During his growth, he encountered a lot of cold looks and basically cut off contact with his relatives around him. He could fight for others to earn money to support the family. and as a result, he was left with many injuries. He could also ride a special tricycle with his mother to sell wontons around the suburban areas as early as 4 or 5 in the morning to promote the wontons. Yan-Fai once said that all he had was his mother and a not-so-big wonton shop. The young man's self-esteem reached its peak at this moment. With the huge gap in their backgrounds, his feelings stopped there. So he acted carelessly in front of me to disguise his true self and successfully made himself someone I hated. Do you have something on your mind? Yan-Fai saw that I was in a bad mood. Lu Jingyan came to propose marriage to my father. Yan-Fai's hand that was passing me a tissue froze, and his hand hung in the air. He knew Lu Jingyan. Is that so? Then you should be happy. To be honest, you two are quite a good match. I didn't expect you to get married so soon. I won't go and join in the fun then, in case you get annoyed seeing me. He rubbed his hands, looking very flustered, and was trying his best to hide the trembling of his lips. I saw it all. My heart clenched. Yan-Fai, I don't want to marry him. In his puzzled eyes, I put down my chopsticks. Slowly, I said, Yan-Fai, would you be willing to marry me? When I got home, there was someone I didn't like sitting on the sofa. Lu Jingyan was as high-spirited as in my memory, and his peach blossom eyes looked affectionate at everyone. It was the first time I saw him after being reborn, and there were too many emotions in my heart. What are you doing here? My parents have already relayed what I wanted to say to you. He seemed unable to detect the impatience in my words. Nan, why did you suddenly change your mind? Did I do something wrong? If I did anything inappropriate, I apologize. I just don't like you. There's no other reason. Let go. Nan. Do you not want to get married so soon? It's okay. I can wait for you. Do you really want to marry me? I asked. Of course, I really want to build a family with you. There was not a hint of hesitation. Lu Jingyan, with such a firm tone. Are you really speaking to me? Or are you looking at my sister, who is destined to be out of your reach? Through my face, I sneered sarcastically. Lu Jingyan, the person you truly like isn't married yet. If you're not willing to give up, just confess your love to her directly. At the mention of my sister, Lu Jingyan's expression visibly changed. With his long, hidden secret exposed, he instinctively looked at Xin. My sister didn't know his feelings and thought he was signaling her to persuade me. Nan, talk things through with Jingyan. Don't ruin your relationship. Sister, when are you and brother-in-law going to try on wedding dresses? My sister was distracted by my question. Tomorrow. Your brother-in-law has already made arrangements. He'll accompany me the whole day tomorrow. When mentioning the person she liked, my sister's eyes sparkled. As she spoke, she took out her phone and sent a message to her fiancé. I deliberately provoked Lu Jingyan. Sure enough, at the mention of my brother-in-law, a trace of pain flashed in Lu Jingyan's eyes. His face turned extremely pale. The affection he had shown me earlier shattered instantly. After learning the truth, every little detail became glaringly obvious. Lu Jingyan and my sister had been friends for many years and also had some professional interactions. I was 3 years younger than them and met him later. I used to follow him around, calling him Brother Jingyan. Although I got to know him later, Lu Jingyan was more considerate and attentive to me than to my sister. I was deceived by his feigned favoritism. In fact, every time he looked at me, he was really looking at my sister, whom he couldn't have. My gaze was too intense. And finally, Lu Jingyan came back to his senses. Nan, you. Lu Jingyan seemed not to believe it, hesitated, and then said, what do you mean? Even now, he's still pretending with me. I scoffed. You know exactly what I mean. You don't like me at all. You've just been acting. Yu Yan, am just Yu Yan, not a substitute for anyone. And definitely not the second best choice when you can't have the one you love. Lu Jingyan, you're not only a scumbag but also a coward. Don't call me Nan anymore. You're not worthy. I drove Lu Jingyan away. Before he left, he vowed, there are some misunderstandings between us. We just need some time. I'll come to see you again in a few days. Go cool off somewhere else. I closed the door myself. Nan, my parents, who had been hiding in the house and eavesdropping, opened the door at this moment. I poured each of them a glass of water. They looked at each other and smiled awkwardly at me. Nan, what's going on now? Your parents don't quite understand. Mom, Dad, Lu Jingyan doesn't really want to marry me. He likes someone else and is just using me as a substitute for that person. There's no way for me and him in this lifetime. You know my personality. So please don't try to persuade me anymore. I closed the door of my bedroom and heard their discussions downstairs. From what your sister said, Lu Jingyan has feelings for someone else, not your sister. I'll ask around later. If what Nan said is true, I won't allow Lu Jingyan to get close to your sister. Nan Nan has always been a thoughtful person since she was a child. I believe she didn't make this decision without reason. By the way, Mom and Dad, I'll go and find out about Yanfei first. A boy she likes suddenly showed up. And I'm afraid Nan Nan might be deceived. Xiner, remember, other things don't matter. You must thoroughly investigate that boy's character and past experiences. Their voices grew fainter and fainter. Lying on the bed, I recalled the way Yanfei stood there, stunned with his chin dropped. Are you going to agree or not? You've thought about it for so long. You should give me an answer. Yanfei smiled casually. You're not drunk today, so why are you talking nonsense, miss? This joke isn't funny. Come up with another one. His expression darkened. He bent down to clear the dishes and then turned around and went to the back kitchen to wash them. I chased after him in my high-heeled sandals. I'm not joking. Yanfei, would you marry me? If you're willing, I'll marry you. All the dishes in his hand slipped to the floor with a clatter. Yanfei stammered and couldn't say a word. I'm an impatient person. So I directly hooked my arms around his neck and kissed him on the lips. I'll take that as a yes. As evening approached, I touched my lips. It seemed that his soft touch was still there, making them tingle faintly. That impulsive kiss made my heart flutter, a feeling I hadn't experienced in a long time. Because Mother Yan came back early, I didn't get an answer from Yanfei. I poked at his black and white profile picture. I wonder what that blockhead is doing now. Yanfei, are you asleep? A kitten peeking JPG. Miss, speak properly, you replied instantly. The phone just happened to be in my hand. Suchit Sundara, you were waiting for my message. I'm extremely confident. Have you thought about it? Your answer. He was typing for a long time. Yu Yan, I have a work call. I'll talk to you later. I couldn't tell if he was avoiding me. Oh, then you go ahead and get busy. As a result, he didn't reply to me for 2 days. What kind of phone call lasts 2 days? He's definitely avoiding me. I came to the wonton shop again in my small leather shoes. Mother Yan was wiping the tables. I said sweetly, Auntie, I'm here to see Yanfei. Is he here? Aren't you Xiao Yan, that high school classmate of Xiaoyi who could eat 3 bowls of wontons at once? I haven't seen you for a long time. Have you made up with Xiaoyi? Embarrassing. I didn't expect Auntie to remember me because of that. Yes, Auntie, long time no see. You look much younger than before. You're such a sweet talker. Dear, I'm getting old. By the way, did you come to see Xiaoyi for something important? I walked up to Auntie shyly. Auntie, I wanted to ask, has Yanfei ever mentioned me to you over the years? Of course, Xiaoyi often tells me stories about when you were deskmates in high school. Actually, I should thank you. After meeting you, Xiaoyi's hot-tempered personality has changed a lot. He's become much more gentle in his words and actions. Was it because of me, at first? Yanfei was unruly. He got into fights outside school, didn't get along with his classmates, and looked extremely world-weary. Everyone seemed like trash in his eyes. When I first became his deskmate, to be honest, I was scared of him. He was not only extremely quiet but also had a scar on his eyebrow bone. By chance, I saw his tender and kind side beneath his unruly appearance. When everyone went to PE class, I asked for leave because of severe period pain. I lay on the desk feeling miserable, cursing everything and wishing I could lash out at the whole world. It was Yanfei who poured me the hot water I needed most and bought me a heat pack. Here, hold this. He warmed it up in his hands before giving it to me. Weren't you going to PE class? I don't think I told you I needed these. How did you? It's obvious just by looking at you. I accepted his kindness. Thank you. He nodded and left but then came back. He seemed a bit embarrassed. Dragon fruit is a cold-natured fruit. You'd better not overindulge next time. Wasn't he sleeping when I was secretly eating the dragon fruit? Got it. His tone was natural yet authoritative. I was like a child caught doing something wrong by a parent, obedient and timid. Got it. Okay. Yanfei smiled in satisfaction, slung his bag over his shoulder, and leisurely went to PE class. Somehow, my eyes followed him all the way, until I saw Yanfei running alone on the track. The class bell had already rung long ago. He was being punished for being late. During the last class in the evening, with the setting sun in the background, the image of Yanfei running on the playground was deeply engraved in my mind. The thermos in my hand continuously emitted warmth. I knew this was the beginning of the thaw in our relationship. Xiaoyi is in the back kitchen. I'll go and call him. No need, Auntie. I'll go find him myself. I skipped towards the back kitchen, not even realizing why my steps were so light. Yanfei was washing dishes. Although his career was already on the right track, he had never forgotten his roots. Whenever he was free, he would help Auntie run this not-so-big wonton shop, personally doing everything from rolling out the wonton wrappers preparing the fillings, to wiping the tables and washing the dishes. Thanks to this, the One More Bowl wonton shop had always done good business and was one of the few stores in the alley that had persisted for decades. He was extremely focused when working. Watching his smooth dish-washing movements was like watching a graceful water-playing performance. I stared at him the whole time, even forgetting why I had come. Yan Fai, you're so handsome. I'm mesmerized. Unlike his reserved nature, I'm a very straightforward person and say whatever's on my mind. He was clearly taken aback. He probably didn't expect me to show up and quickly took off his cleaning gloves and untied his apron. It's dirty here. You go out first. I was pushed out. There was a pond of lotus flowers in the backyard. No wonder I smelled a faint fragrance of lotus when I came in. Are you hungry again? After thinking for a while, he came to this conclusion. I'm not hungry. Then what are you here for? I came to see you. You've seen me. Now you can leave. His sudden change of attitude caught me off guard. Have you thought about what I said last time? I moved closer and looked into his eyes. He instinctively stepped back to keep a distance from me and remained silent. I guessed he hadn't taken it seriously at all. I really want to marry you. I'm not joking. I'm a straightforward person, not like Yan Fai, who beats around the bush. Yu Yan. I know it was just an impulsive act on your part that day. He was referring to the kiss. It wasn't a joke. And you responded at that time. It was just a reflex. It doesn't count. Not only was he making excuses, but he also dared not look at me. I was so angry that I laughed. Then how do you explain holding my waist? You were losing your balance. It was just an illusion. He was still making excuses. Yan Fai, do you really not have feelings for me, miss, if you have nothing else? I'll get back to work. He evaded the question. He started using miss to provoke me again. He really knows me well because I was already getting a bit annoyed. Fine, I see. I won't force you. I pretended to be angry. Since you're not willing, I won't force you. I'll just go back and marry Lu Jingyan obediently. It's my fate to be unhappy for the rest of my life. Before Yan Fai could reply, I left the shop. Even now, despite his achievements, he still thinks it's impossible for us to be together. He lacks the courage. If I don't take the initiative, with his personality, he would never take that step. I hid behind the camphor tree and counted the time. Instead of waiting for Yan Fai, I saw Lu Jingyan getting out of a Land Rover. He never came to this kind of alley on normal days. Are you following me? I sneered. You ex-Ian told me that the person you like is here. I came to see what kind of person made you reject my proposal. Clearly, you liked me before. Why did you suddenly change your mind? Without his gentle facade, his paranoid and terrifying true nature was revealed. I really have no idea what's going on in his head. He loves my sister but insists on marrying me. Disgusting and despicable. There's no one else here, so stop playing dumb with me. Lu Jingyan, ask yourself, why do you insist on marrying me? Isn't it because I look like someone else? Nan, what are you talking about? I don't understand. A trace of fear flashed across his face. He was guilty. Lu Jingyan, if you push me any further, I'll expose everything, and no one will come out of this unscathed. There's a misunderstanding between us. Come on, let's talk it through. I don't know where Lu Jingyan learned his annoying persistence from. He forcefully pulled me towards his car. How did I not realize how crazy this guy was in my past life? Lu Jingyan, let me go. I'm going to tell my sister. Let me go. Yu Yan, Lu Jingyan. Let go of Yu Yan. Yan Fai chased after us. He still cared. I took the opportunity to hit Lu Jingyan and ran towards Yan Fai. Yan Fai, he's bullying me. I hid behind him, looking pitiful and on the verge of tears, clutching the hem of his clothes. Yan Fai's attitude clearly softened. He gently patted my shoulder and comforted me. Don't be afraid. Then he shielded me completely with his tall figure. Yu Yan, what made you change so much overnight? You used to call me brother Jingyan. Is it because of him? I don't need a reason to dislike you. Anyway, I won't marry you. Yan Fai knows me better than you and likes me more than you do. He's the one I want to marry. Yu Yan, if you're with this poor guy, are you planning to sell wontons with him for the rest of your life? Do you think your parents will agree to you being together? Is he really worthy of you? Lu Jingyan's words were full of disdain as he mocked Yan Fai. Yan Fai's face remained calm, but his jaw was tightly clenched. He was suppressing his emotions. I placed my hand on his and stood on tiptoe to kiss him, right in front of Lu Jingyan. This time, Yan Fai didn't just stand there stiffly. He actively responded. Our eyes met. I want to be with him. My heart is set, and it won't change. Lu Jingyan left in a huff. I turned around and met Yan Fai's bright eyes. My heart skipped a beat, and I pursed my lips. Yan Fai, I didn't have enough of that kiss. I want another one. I tried again, but Yan Fai held me back, such a stingy person. We went back to the backyard. Yan Fai went back to being the Yan Fai who didn't want to pay me much attention at first. I knew he cared about Lu Jingyan's words, anticipating his move. I blocked his way as he tried to escape. Don't tell me that was just a reflex again. After a long while, he asked, you clearly liked Lu Jingyan before, why did you suddenly act like this towards me, if you're doing this to spite him? There's really no need to use me as a shield, I'm not persuasive at all, I know you like me, and I can understand the choices you made before, but I want to tell you that I, Yu Yan, never cared about a man's background, all I care about is the person himself. My parents are very open-minded, they will respect my choices, and since you're so great, they will like you too. With nowhere else to retreat, he was cornered by me. Moreover, Yan Fai, you're not inferior at all. At least in my eyes, you're better than anyone else. Upon hearing this, a glimmer of light flashed in Yan Fai's eyes, but it disappeared quickly. He still didn't believe me. Well, with such a sudden change in my attitude, anyone would be skeptical. If you don't believe me, I can prove it. For example, marry me and be my legal husband. He turned his face away. I reflected for 3 seconds. Was my request a bit too overbearing? Yan Fai's voice was as soft as a mosquito's hum. Let me think about it. Okay, I'll wait for you at the Civil Affairs Bureau this afternoon. This afternoon is not possible. Give me 3 more days. Right, I was being too hasty. It made me seem less reserved. 3 days it is. Remember to put in a good word for me in front of our mom. I can't eat 3 bowls anymore. I have a small appetite and am easy to support. We're not, pretending not to hear, I said. Bye, Brother Yi. After seeing the shy expression I expected on Yan Fai's face, I left the wonton shop, happily swinging my bag. You look so happy. Did something good happen? As soon as I got home, my sister noticed something different about me. Sister, if nothing unexpected happens, I'll get my marriage certificate before you do. Xian almost spat out the water she was drinking at me. Cough, cough. Are you serious? Are you really going to have a flash marriage with that Yan Fai? How long have you been together? Sister, when have I ever joked with you? When you meet the right person, you can't wait to get married. Only I know how great Yan Fai is, based on what I know about them. They must have privately investigated Yan Fai's character and background the last time I expressed my feelings. Our family had an agreement before that we wouldn't interfere too much in the children's love lives. On the morning of the 3rd day, I got up before dawn and waited for news with my phone in hand. To be honest, I was quite nervous. What if he still didn't want to? In this life, I really don't want to miss out on Yan Fai again. I'll wait for you at the west gate of the alley. When I received the message, I sprang up from the bed like a carp and made a voice call. I'll be there right away. Don't run away. Got it. Wait for me. The other end replied sweetly. I won't leave. I'll wait for you. Don't rush. Ah. I quickly put on some light makeup and ran downstairs with a beaming face. Nan, where are you in such a hurry? Mom and Dad, I'm going to get my marriage certificate. You can have lunch first. What do you mean by eating the certificate? Ugh. I mean getting the marriage certificate. Your daughter is going to get married. I've always been a hasty person. Moreover, I had already informed my sister in advance. With her around, there was nothing to worry about at home. Yan Fai dressed up specially today. Instead of his usual side-parted hairstyle, he showed his smooth forehead and styled his hair. Coincidentally, we were both wearing black and white couple outfits. Standing together, we looked perfect, like a match made in heaven. Yan Fai hesitated while holding his household registration book. Yu Yan, do you want to think again? Marriage is a big deal and can't be taken lightly. There are many men around you who have better conditions than me. I still hope. Don't you like me? I stepped closer. That was the only question I asked from start to finish because I knew it was the most effective way to deal with him. At this crucial moment, he was still being coy. I'm so frustrated that I can't turn him into a better person. Yan Fai, as long as you say you don't like me, I'll cancel the appointment right away. As long as you say you hate me, I definitely won't force you. After 10 seconds, he put the household registration book in his pocket, as if making a major decision. He let out a deep sigh. Let's go. There will be a long queue if there are many people. I immediately jumped up and ruffled his hair, looking at him with affection. Okay, hubby. Instantly, his ears turned slightly red. You can't call me that yet. Wait until later. Got it, hubby. Afraid that I would notice. Yan Fai covered his burning ears, trying to hide them. How could I have never noticed that the cool schoolboy Yan Fai had such a cute and innocent side in private? It was like discovering a new world. There weren't many people at the Civil Affairs Bureau, and we completed the procedures quickly. The heart that had been hanging in mid-air finally settled down. This time, I don't want to miss him again, nor do I want him to live a lonely life filled with regret and longing. I want us to love each other, be affectionate as a couple, and grow old together. Yan-Fai stared blankly at the marriage certificate, looking at it over and over again, admiring it with a smile that he couldn't hold back. Seeing his silly look, I couldn't help but laugh too, to prevent you from having other thoughts. I'll keep the certificate, let's go help you move first. The day I went to see him, I had already found a wedding house. Isn't this a bit too fast, Yan-Fai? Are you serious? Do you want to live separately from me on the first day of our marriage? No, that's not what I meant. Sure enough, love makes people stutter. I laughed heartily and teased him by scratching his chin. I knew you couldn't bear to be apart from me. No, it's about being reserved. Yan-Fai, who always had the upper hand in front of me, was now blushing and stammering. After getting the certificate, I posted a photo of the marriage certificate on my Moments and also sent it separately in the family group. Dad, Mom, Sister, I know you've all secretly looked into him. Since you didn't talk to me privately, it means you have no objections to him. I liked him back in high school. Over time, his place in my heart has become more and more important. I only want to marry him. He's really great, and I don't want to miss him again. Dad, you're grown up now, with your own thoughts and judgment. As parents, we respect and support you. Mom, marriage is your own choice, and you have to walk your own path. No matter what decision you make, Mom will support you, as long as my baby is happy. Sister, Nan, the wedding gift I bought for you is on the way. Thank you all, I'm very touched. By the way, Dad, Mom, Sister, my husband is shy. I'll give him a heads up first and then add him to the group. I'll bring him home for dinner with you guys another day. Love you. In the end, Yan-Fai didn't move his luggage. Instead, I moved into the new house he bought by the river. The furniture and everything else were complete, clean, tidy, and brand new. The most crucial thing was that there were double happiness characters pasted on the door. Something was off, very off. When did you buy this house? He admitted obediently. 2 days ago. I suddenly understood and secretly rejoiced. Looks like I worried for nothing. Yu Yan, now you really can't go back on your word. Whoever goes back on their word is a pig, a Ukrainian roasted suckling pig. We looked at each other and smiled, standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, with a vast and beautiful river view and Yan-Fai by my side. I felt completely satisfied. At the end of the month, there was a disturbance caused by a customer in one of Yan-Fai's restaurants. It seemed quite serious. As the owner of the store, he had to fly to the neighboring city to solve the problem in person and also negotiate a cooperation deal. Since we still needed to buy some household items, I drove to the large shopping mall alone. When I was looking at men's clothing, I took a fancy to a tie. Just as I was about to pick it up and take a closer look, a pair of hands reached it first. It was Lu Jingyan again. Nan, what a coincidence. Good taste. He cheerfully greeted the salesperson and bought the tie. I must have left the house without checking the almanac. What bad luck. Why isn't that guy Yan-Fai with you? I didn't see eye to eye with him, so I turned around and left. Lu Jingyan chased after me, like a persistent ghost. If I hadn't seen his true nature in the previous life, I might have really thought he couldn't let go of me. Are you very idle? Why do you keep meddling in my business with Yan-Fai? Do you really think Yan-Fai is sincere towards you? You don't know this yet, but an old acquaintance of his has returned to the country, and they're busy rekindling their relationship. Lu Jingyan handed me a photo. The photo showed Yan-Fai and a woman coming out of a hotel and getting into the same car. Both of them were smiling, and the angle made the scene look quite ambiguous. I recognized the woman at a glance as Lin Xiaowu, a persistent admirer of Yan-Fai. Nan, a man and a woman in such a situation. Do I need to spell it out for you? You and he are from completely different worlds, not to mention that he would be sincere towards you. One day, you'll understand that only I'm a good match for you. Lu Jingyan, your face must be as thick as the Great Wall. You're still talking about sincerity. I took the photo from his hand and tore it into 2 halves. Lu Jingyan, just the fact that you secretly took someone else's photo and are so brazen about it shows that you're no match for Yan-Fai. In the future, don't bother about my affairs with Yan-Fai. Back in the car, the image from the photo kept flashing in my mind. Our last WeChat conversation ended with a good morning message. What are you doing? I regretted sending it as soon as I did. Yan-Fai wasn't that kind of person. He wouldn't do anything to betray me. I'm negotiating a cooperation deal. I also have a business dinner tonight, but, in the previous life, since high school, Lin Xiaowu had been chasing after Yan-Fai. she never hid her feelings for him. At that time, Yen Fai and I had already fallen out, and I forced myself not to care. Yen Fai and she grew up in the same alley, so they had known each other for a long time. Later, they even went to the same university, spending even more time together. Since I had withdrawn from Yen Fai's world early on, I didn't know if they were still in touch. In this life, I took the initiative to enter his life and became his wife. However, through our time together, I could clearly feel that he kept a certain distance from me. Could it be that part of the reason was that Lin Xiaowu had come back, and they happened to meet in the neighboring city, rekindling their old feelings? After all, a hotel was a place that could easily lead to speculation. I couldn't sleep and was prone to overthinking, so I decided to go directly to Yen Fai and get to the bottom of things. At 8 p.m., I landed in the neighboring city. As soon as I got out of the taxi, I saw the person I was looking for, a man and a woman. One was trying to back away, while the other was pressing forward. "You're drunk. I'll call one of your colleagues to take you back." "Brother Fai, don't you know that I've been waiting for you all these years? Why won't you give me a chance? You're single, and I'm single. We're such a good match. Why won't you take a look at me?" Lin Xiaowu leaned against Yen Fai, saying all sorts of flirtatious things. It was hard to tell if she was really drunk or not. I felt a rush of anger. "What are you two doing? All over each other?" I stormed over and pulled them apart. Lin Xiaowu's makeup was smudged, and she reeked of alcohol. It took her a long time to react when she looked at me. "I know you. You're Brother Fai's classmate." What a coincidence. Classmate, single, great. It turned out that Yen Fai hadn't even told her that he was married. My face darkened. "I'm not his classmate, I'm his wife." Before I could finish, Lin Xiaowu suddenly vomited on me. I was stunned. I couldn't stand it when someone vomited in front of me. Immediately, I felt nauseous and started vomiting too. "Yu Yen, are you okay?" Yen Fai dropped Lin Xiaowu and rushed over to support me. Still vomiting, I angrily pushed him away. I thought I was going to catch him in the act, but instead, I turned it into a farce. After settling Lin Xiaowu in the hotel, Yen Fai got me a new room. After throwing the dirty clothes into the laundry basket, he poured me a glass of warm water and asked, "Yu Yen, did you come here specifically to see me?" "Humph, if I hadn't come, how would I have known you were being confessed to? Someone sent me photos of you and Lin Xiaowu going in and out of the hotel. I didn't want to deal with all that nonsense, so I came here to ask you for clarification." I gave him a look, and he understood immediately, starting to explain. "There's nothing between me and Lin Xiaowu. She's the representative sent by the partner for this cooperation. She's not familiar with this neighboring city, since we're old acquaintances and have business to attend to." I gave her a ride to the hotel entrance that day. I took a sip of warm water and asked, "Do you like her?" "No. I rejected her back in college. I didn't know in advance that she was the representative sent by the other side. If I had known, I would have tried my best to avoid it." "Yu Yen, you have to believe me." "Yeah, I believe you. I really meant it." After seeing Yen Fai's attitude towards Lin Xiaowu with my own eyes, I was certain there were no feelings beyond the boundary in his eyes when he looked at Lin Xiaowu. "Thank you for believing me." He let out a sigh of relief. "Yen Fai." Lin Xiaowu said, "You're single. Why didn't I know you were single?" I asked him, my tone devoid of any emotion. "Yen Fai, do you think I'm not presentable, or do you think there's no need to tell others?" "No," he interrupted eagerly. "I thought that if, by any chance, we didn't make it in the end, it wouldn't have too much of an impact on your reputation." His voice trailed off towards the end. I looked at him steadily, feeling both disappointed and disheartened. He looked scared, wanting to say something but holding back. "Yen Fai, on the day we got our marriage certificate, I couldn't wait to tell everyone. I told you that I really want to build a family with you, but you didn't have any hope for our marriage at all. If that's the case, why did you agree to marry me in the first place?" "It's not like that. Yu Yen, let me explain." No matter how full of guilt his tone was, I chased him out and didn't reply to any of the messages he sent me. "Don't come to me until you've thought it through." After staying in the neighboring city for a few days, Yen Fai waited at my door every day with a bouquet of white hyacinths to apologize to me. Seeing those clusters of flowers, I would think of the scene in front of the tomb. It was poignant and sad. The person didn't stay, but the flowers did. I put each bouquet in a vase. In fact, the anger in my heart had long since dissipated, but Yen Fai still hadn't grasped the crux of the problem in our argument. Yen Fai always thoughtfully arranged my favorite food for me. When I was eating pasta, Lin Xiaowu found her way to the hall. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. "Why do you still have to reject me? What's wrong with me?" she was asking Yen Fai. but her eyes were sweeping over me. Yan Fei took the initiative to pull me into his arms and introduced, Lin Xiaowu. I'm already married, Yu Yan is my wife, and she's the best in my eyes. I looked up and accidentally met his gaze. His eyes were cautious, and I felt uncomfortable seeing that. Perhaps I had pushed him too hard. How could his thoughts be completely changed overnight? Didn't you say in high school that you didn't like girls like her? Why did you suddenly marry her? I was also curious about how Yan Fei would answer. This time, he didn't evade the question. I was lying. I've always liked Yu Yan, and it has never changed. You know that my situation wasn't good back then. I felt inferior, self-conscious, and sensitive, so I was a coward. You once asked me why I didn't accept you or anyone else all these years. It's because there's only Yu Yan in my heart. Yan Fei looked at me earnestly and said, Yu Yan, I will eliminate all thoughts that are unfavorable to our marriage in the future. I should have confidence in myself and in our marriage. Please don't be angry with me anymore, okay? I thought I would have to wait a long time to hear these words from him. Seeing that he was about to cry, I reached out and patted his head. Okay, let's work hard together. I showed a heartfelt smile, and he took the initiative to hold my hand. In the evening, Yan Fei moved his luggage into my suite. He said with conviction, a newly married couple shouldn't live separately. He washed up and lay on the bed waiting for me. I still remember that on the first night after we got the marriage certificate, someone insisted on sleeping with a clear boundary between us. The pajamas were thin, and he was very close. His body was as hot as a stove, and I could even hear his thumping heartbeat. My breathing became slightly rapid. Yu Yan, I still want to ask, why me? His voice was hoarse. Why did I choose him among so many men? The self-doubt in his tone overflowed again. Years of thinking couldn't be changed overnight. I held his cheeks and said seriously, because you're worthy. In the later part of the previous life, Yan Fei was so heartbroken that he grew white hair, as if he had aged 10 years overnight. He never married for the rest of his life, guarding the scattered memories of me. My cemetery was the place he visited most often. My soul stayed by his side until the last moment of his life. When he was old and frail, he flipped through the love letter that I had thrown into the trash can over and over again. Even though the words had long faded and the paper had turned yellow, he still carefully folded it and put it in the pocket of his chest, then closed his eyes contentedly. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but shed tears. Yan Fei's expression softened, and he reached out to wipe away my tears. Am I really worthy? You're more worthy than anyone else. The hand around my waist tightened even more. Yu Yan, everything seems like a dream. I'm afraid that if I'm too happy, the dream will wake up. I'm happy to marry you. The night you came to me, I couldn't sleep all night. My mind was full of your face. Yu Yan, I will work even harder to provide you with better living conditions than now. I won't let you down. His promise was sincere and simple, and it made me feel heartache. It's not a dream. If you don't believe me, touch me. He rubbed his cheek against mine. His slightly rough palm passed over the corner of my clothes and gradually moved up, resting on my skin. I felt a shudder. I wanted to say something, but I didn't have the strength to open my mouth. Under the peaking of the moon, we secretly did something naughty. After clearing up the misunderstanding, Yan Fei and I gradually began to act like a married couple. It was the first time for both of us to enter marriage, and we were both learning how to manage it. I was glad that I went to the neighboring city and that I got rid of the potential hidden danger early. The sound of water in the bathroom stopped. Little Ewer, bring me a towel. I was taken aback by the subconscious address. I handed him the towel and probed. What did you just call me, little Ewer? He carefully observed my expression. If you don't like it, I won't call you that next time. A string in my mind snapped. I rushed forward and hugged him, who was still wet, almost affirmatively. When I failed the college entrance examination and stayed at home without going out, it was you who wrote me that encouraging letter, right? It's always been you, hasn't it? Seeing that he couldn't hide it anymore, Yan Fei admitted it. When the results of the college entrance examination came out, I heard from my classmates that you didn't do well and hadn't spoken for several days. I was very worried. I know your character best. You tend to get stuck in your own thoughts and always take the blame. You must not have been able to forgive yourself for disappointing your family's expectations. So I wrote that letter and secretly put it in your family's mailbox. The encouraging letter that untied the knot in my heart, gave me the courage to repeat my senior year of high school, and completely made me give my heart to Lu Jingyan was written by Yan Fei. It turned out that I had been wrong from the very beginning. By chance, I entered Lu Jingyan's study and saw an unopened love letter on the bookshelf. The cover said Little Ewer, and the handwriting was so similar. Plus, at that time, everyone said that he was different to me. so I didn't think otherwise and directly regarded Lu Jingyan as the person who secretly wrote me the letter. I threw myself into it without careful exploration and sank into it. In fact, that letter was for my sister. Uxian was his little Yuer, and it had nothing to do with me, Yu Yan. That's why I was so sad and desperate later. My sister's marriage was happy and fulfilling, and I had never told her these things. I concealed it well, and even Lu Jingyan didn't find out that I already knew his secret. I didn't dare to question him because I was afraid that if the truth was revealed, it would bring trouble to my sister's marriage and ruin the sisterly bond we had since childhood. I could only hate Lu Jingyan, hate myself, and swallow all the grievances and bitterness. Now, I realized that I was wrong. I tightly hugged Yan Fai's waist, leaving no gap between our two bodies. My soft sobs turned into loud crying under his comfort. Yan Fai, I don't like this address. Can you call me Nan Nan? I want you to call me that. Okay, Nan Nan. Tears flowed out like a flood with the sluice gate opened and couldn't be controlled. You should have told me. You're always like this. Never saying your true feelings. Why was I so stupid? I didn't even notice something so obvious. Woo-woo. Good Nan Nan. Stop crying. Okay, if you cry any more, your eyes will be swollen, and you'll feel uncomfortable. Yan Fai, I want to sleep with you. That night, I pestered Yan Fai until the middle of the night. He didn't understand why but could only try his best to coax me. The more he indulged me, the more uncomfortable I felt. I sobbed. Don't hide anything from me in the future. Okay, I promise you. Nan Nan. His gentle voice coaxing me was sweeter than the sweet spring water in the mountains. Nan Nan. No one has ever called me that as nicely as he does. And no one has ever fascinated me as much as he does, in bed. Yan Fai is my only warm haven. I clung to him like an octopus and said, can you not give me white hyacinths next time? It symbolizes silent love. Love is too bitter if it's not spoken out. I don't like that. It should be said out loud and let the other person know bravely. It's not right not to say it. Do you remember? I remember. It's not enough. He looked at me blankly, and then, as if inspired, he gently pecked at my collarbone. I promise next time. That's more like it. I shrank into his arms, wrapped in warmth, and gradually felt drowsy, but I clearly heard Yan Fai's murmured words. In the silent night, the warmth of his palm rubbed against my skin. I thought at that time that you already had someone you loved. If I appeared in front of you and explained that little letter, wouldn't it just add trouble to you? Just like the Little Mermaid, the prince had already fallen in love with the princess of a neighboring country. Even if the Little Mermaid told him that it was actually her who saved the prince might not fall in love with her. After thinking about it, it was better not to appear in front of you. Good night, my Nan Nan. A gentle kiss landed on my forehead as he spoke, like a feather brushing by. Epilogue. The day I brought Yan Fai home, my sister and brother-in-law were also there. When he met my parents for the first time, Yan Fai performed much better than I expected. And he even seemed at ease. I thought he was just pretending to be calm, so I comforted him. If you're nervous, just tell me. Don't hold it in. I'm here. I'm not nervous. I had already visited your parents before we got the marriage certificate. I was stunned. Yan Fai stroked my head and explained to me, you have to know that you're the precious daughter they've doted on for more than 20 years. No matter how much they say they won't interfere in your love life and marriage, they will still be worried when you suddenly propose a flash marriage with a man. Since I decided to get the marriage certificate with you, it was necessary for me to visit them as a courtesy. Otherwise, it would be very impolite. No wonder my parents said those things in the group later. I really thought they were completely at ease. Yan Fai is always so thorough and careful, unlike me. I can't think that much and just act rashly according to my own ideas. It seems that I like Yan Fai even more now. Why didn't you tell me before? You just need to be my carefree princess, and I'll take care of everything else. Well, it made me feel warm inside. I heard that the man will go through many difficulties when he visits the woman's home for the first time. Did they say anything unpleasant to make things difficult for you? Silly girl, I've already married you, haven't I? He lowered his head and smiled. His tone relaxed, and pride overflowed between his eyebrows. There must have been tests, but he had solved them. It's because you're excellent enough that my parents are at ease. Come on, tell me the details. No, it's a secret. I tried to persuade him for a long time but failed. Yan Fai was called to the kitchen by my father, who said he wanted to have a cook-off with him. I was worried, but my mother comforted me with a single sentence. Not just anyone can be called by your father to the kitchen for a cook-off. Don't worry, that's right. My father must be satisfied. I clung to my mother and acted coquettishly. You've had bad taste in aesthetics since you were a child, but Yuan choosing a partner is quite good. Xiao Yan is down-to-earth, hardworking, has a stable temperament, understands the ways of the world but isn't worldly, and handles things steadily. As for you, it's obvious that he's sincere towards you. He's more suitable for you than Jingyan. It seems that our Nan Nan is really lucky this time and has found the right husband. Mom, I'm not stupid. I tried my best to prove it, but no one believed me. My sister wasn't idle either. It looked like they had a little argument. Jiang Mingyan, look at our brother-in-law, and then look at you. You can only make tomato and egg drop soup, and there are eggshells in the soup. Don't you like my egg drop soup? The brother-in-law who was being criticized immediately understood what my sister meant and hugged her from behind, saying, I'll learn to make other dishes from our brother-in-law right away. Sure enough, my sister smiled and threw herself into his arms. It's so nice. I suddenly remembered that I hadn't heard any news about Lu Jingyan for some time and wondered if he had gone to find my sister again. Sister, do you still have any contact with Lu Jingyan? I asked tentatively. Jingyan bumped his head some time ago and was hospitalized for several days. I went to see him, and he wasn't in a good condition. He should be recuperating at home now. Oh, I replied perfunctorily to show that I had heard it. Before you got married, I went to see him. I asked him if he was really sincere towards you, but he couldn't say anything for a long time. I gave him a good scolding, and I've had little contact with him since then. When the family was in the middle of the excitement, I received a strange text message. It was from Lu Jingyan. He said he was outside my house and was waiting for me to come out and meet him. I was snuggling in Yanfei's arms, and he saw the message too. His body stiffened. Why are you so nervous? You're my husband. Be more confident. It's not that. Your hair just slid down to my neck, and it was so itchy that it made me uncomfortable. What a coward. Yanfei held me and whispered. Go and talk to him. Aren't you worried about me talking to him alone? I'm your legal husband, and besides, the person you like now is me. Good, he's got some sense now. I scratched his chin and quickly gave him a kiss, saying, you worked hard cooking today. I'll reward you well when we get back. Okay. Lu Jingyan was sitting on a bench outside the yard. In such a short time, he had lost a lot of weight, and his face was very haggard. When he saw me appear, he almost rushed up to me. Nan Nan, do you remember the things from the previous life? Lu Jingyan was reborn too. I stepped back. What are you talking about? Even though I didn't admit it, he was still convinced that I remembered. Nan Nan, I've remembered everything. I've been having nightmares these 2 days, dreaming of the scene of you leaving. I regret it. Nan Nan, please give me a chance to make it up to you. Okay, I'm married, Lu Jingyan. If you want to go crazy, go find someone else to go crazy with. I didn't show him any kindness and turned to leave. Lu Jingyan grabbed me. Nan Nan, I really didn't see you under the car. If I had known, I would never have left you alone. I regret it so much. Regret missing you back then. I sneered. Really, why do I remember that my sister, despite her weak body, told you that Nan Nan was still under the car and that she was more seriously injured, asking you to save me quickly? Let me ask you, did I hear it wrong? You said at that time, Xin, you're bleeding too much. I'll take you to the hospital first. You left and never came back. When I was on the verge of despair, it was Yanfei who found me. Lu Jingyan, you've always treated me as a substitute for my sister, always played tricks on me. Now, you still talk about making up for it. What exactly do you want to make up for? Do you want to drive me to death again? I was wrong. Only after you left did I realize that I had fallen in love with you over time. Nan Nan, can you forgive me? Lu Jingyan, who was begging me to forgive him, looked humble, embarrassed, and even a little crazy. You like Xin, you just wanted to use me to get close to her and satisfy your fantasies about her. You like my face because it resembles hers. Do you dare to take out all the love letters in your study, which you does the little fish you wrote in every word refer to? Tell me. You didn't dare to confess to my sister because you were afraid of ruining your decades-long friendship and that she would push you away, so you selfishly dragged me into the abyss. Lu Jingyan, you really disgust me. Nan Nan, my thin sister stood at the door, her face pale, and the garbage bag in her hand fell to the ground. My sister, who usually loved to smile the most, was now crying and dared not look at me. Is what he said true? Her lips trembled, and her eyes were filled with shock. I still couldn't hide it. No, sis, you misheard. We didn't say anything just now. Xin, it's not like that. It's not. For a moment, both Lu Jingyan and I panicked. Lu Jingyan, what do you take us sisters for? What do you take Nan Nan for? You're despicable. My sister was angry and shocked, pointing at Lu Jingyan, unable to speak properly. I couldn't comfort her and was so angry that I drove him away. Get out. Your leaving is the best compensation for me. I never want to see you again. It was Yan-Fai who arrived in time that prevented the situation from escalating. My sister locked herself in the room. I quietly took the key I had kept before and opened the door. My sister was sitting at the table, hugging the photo of her and me. Even her back looked so sad, telling of her disappointment and self-blame. Nan, I'm sorry. It's my fault for hurting you. I won't have any more contact with him. Can you forgive me, sis? I opened my arms and hugged my sister, who was even thinner than me. Sis, it's not your fault. I've never blamed you. Please don't blame yourself, okay? We grew up together and were so close that we could share clothes and eat from the same lollipop. I really didn't know he had other feelings for me. I felt so sorry for my sister's self-blaming look. Sis, I've never blamed you. I have someone I truly like now and don't care about those irrelevant people. Be good, sis, don't cry. My sister's makeup was almost smudged. I helped her remove her makeup and wipe her face, just like I used to. Nan, you've known the truth for a long time but never said anything. Were you afraid that I'd be torn between you and Lu Jingyan? Were you afraid that since one was my friend of over 10 years and the other was my little sister who grew up with me, I'd be caught in the middle and feel torn? I'd be heartbroken no matter which one I lost. I acquiesced. I didn't want to see my sister in a dilemma. My sister held my hand and wiped my tears. Just like when we were children. Nan, you should know that we are blood sisters, born of the same parents, and the closest people in the world. Even your brother-in-law comes after you in my heart. You will always be my top priority. When you cut your hand on paper when you were a child, I felt so. I never wanted you to be wronged in the slightest, but this time, it was me who brought you such great pain. I'm so sorry. My sister's words filled my heart with gratitude. I always knew my sister loved me, but I never imagined how important I was to her. Sis, don't take it to heart. It's all in the past. Look, I'm very happy with Yan-Fai now, aren't I? I showed a silly smile, and finally, she smiled too. She didn't react to the first part, but she nodded at the end. Now that the matter that had been weighing on my mind was finally out in the open, I felt much lighter. At least, I wouldn't be haunted by nightmares in the middle of the night anymore. My sister confronted Lu Jingyan the next day. She cut off all ties with him and ended their friendship completely. Nan, Lu Jingyan hurt you. I can't forgive anyone who does that. Besides, I have no romantic feelings for him. If our friendship crosses the line, then I don't need it anymore. My sister was more decisive and clear-headed than I expected. More importantly, she didn't want her husband to worry. It was inappropriate to have a man who had been secretly in love with her for a long time and almost became her brother-in-law by her side. The only person my sister had ever loved was Jiang Mingyan, her husband, and this fact had remained unchanged in both lifetimes. As for Lu Jingyan, he was never an option for my sister. It was Lu Jingyan alone who was consumed by his obsession and trapped himself in a cycle of paranoia. After that, I never saw Lu Jingyan again. Some said he went abroad, while others said he wasn't in a good mental state, quit his job, and his whereabouts were unknown. I woke up in the middle of the night and touched the side of the bed. It was warm, but there was no one there. Yan-Fai was sitting there, looking like a still sculpture. The faint light in the room shone on his back. I saw a love letter clenched in his hand. Something I was all too familiar with. It was the one I had thrown away. He had been keeping it all this time. Why did he take it out at night? I quietly hugged him from behind. What are you thinking about? Nan. His voice was a little hoarse. I had a dream and couldn't sleep. I guessed it was related to the past. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken out something from the past. Can you tell me what you dreamed about? In the dream, you married Lu Jingyan. You were unhappy after marriage and cried every day. I watched you get thinner and thinner, and you even died in my arms. All of this now is fake. We didn't get married. We didn't meet again. And you and I, Yan-Fai's emotions were out of control. I was worried that the painful memories would resurface, so I quickly kissed him, gently soothing him. He held my waist and gradually calmed down. Yan-Fai, look at me. Who am I? Nan. Who is Nan to you? My wife. I smiled sweetly. That's right, your wife, Mrs. Yan-Fai. Perhaps my laughter infected him. He suddenly seemed to snap out of his thoughts. Yan-Fai showed a relaxed and relieved smile. Yes, we're doing well now. He arrived in time during the day. Maybe he heard everything, but he didn't ask me about it. His worries seeped into his dreams, bringing back the past and disturbing his peace of mind. I held Yan-Fai's face, rubbed my nose against his, and said softly, dreams are the opposite. They're not real, you know. I'm right here with you, whether it's good or bad, life or death. We'll spend the rest of our lives together. We'll be very, very happy. with our hearts connected, we snuggled up and poured out our hearts to each other. The curtains were blown up by the night wind, and the moonlight outside streamed into the room. It was a full moon tonight. The silver moon hung in the sky, symbolizing perfection. How many years has it been? You still keep this, the sentimental handwriting from our youth, and the bold, literary love words made me blush when I thought about them now. Since you happen to like him, if you agree, our parents will give their consent. Mom said your chopped pepper fish head is so delicious. She secretly asked me when I would bring you home again. I'm free these days. Well, if you're free, can you accompany me to look at wedding dresses? I want to have the wedding on the same day as my sister. Okay, I'll make the arrangements. On our wedding day, I want a lot of roses. Okay, I'll take care of that too. Yen Fi. I think I love you more and more. What a coincidence. I've always loved you.